Open Legend, a very special RPG mini-series, and today is the finale. I am your game master / dungeon master, whatever floats your boat, Thatbronzegirl. I'm a variety caster on Twitch as well as a host here at Hyper RPG, and I'm joined by a very, very special cast of characters today. We have had a bunch of super awesome RPG talent from across the internet join us for all the different installments of Open Legend, and today we are joined by none other than Mr. Matthew Mercer himself. Hello.
Hi. Happy to come and join you guys for the day. Heck
We're
yeah.
so happy to have you. It's a pleasure and it's a blessing, and I'm nervous because you're like the best GM and I'm GMing you and I am a scrub.
You're gonna be fine. That's kind of the fun of running a game, is you really can't mess it up if everyone's having a good time. And as long as you're having a good time, you're good.
I always have a good time. They call me that bronze good time girl.
I call you that often, yeah.
That's my.
It was just too long for Twitch,
nickname.
so she had to shorten it.
Yeah, see, she knows what's up. Yeah,
I got you.
See, there you go. Speaking of, we should go around. I'm so cringy and introduce everyone. You would never guess that I've hosted on this channel before, from my super smooth, suave, elegant intro today. But by the power of the moon, I am gonna just be the best host ever. Take it away, Ivan.
Hey guys, I'm back. I'm Ivan Van Norman. I'm a regular Twitch host on Geek and Sundry's Twitch channel. I play board games and role-playing games there, and occasionally I like to conquer the world on Civ 6 on my own channel. Hello!
All right, Bear.
By the power of the sun, I am Bear, and I am here to be Jonathan Jericho, the courtesan blacksmith. I also do my own stuff over on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube via BaerTaffy. I like video games. I play a lot of those.
Good. And we were missing her last week. Aureylian?
Hi, I am Aureylian, also known as Aaron. I am a variety caster on Twitch. I also do YouTube, but I'm also the community manager here at Twitch, so sometimes you'll see me out and about introducing all kinds of new stuff like Twitch IRL. So that's me, and there you go.
And then we have Mr. High Noon himself, Mr. Matthew Mercer. A man who needs no introduction, but I'm going to ask him to introduce himself anyway.
Hi, my name is Matthew Mercer. I'm a voice actor living in Los Angeles. Worked on games like Overwatch as the voice of McCree, Titanfall 2 is the player, Jack Cooper, and a bunch of other projects. And I also DM my own RPG series called Critical Role. That's Thursdays at 7 p.m. Pacific on Geek and Sundry's Twitch, where me and a bunch of other voice actors play D&D.
It's awesome. I'm sure you've probably heard of it. It's just, it's just only the biggest RPG show on Twitch. I'm sure maybe you've heard of it. It's just
If you're on Twitch and you've been on the front page on a Thursday, it's likely to
if you have a pulse and you have an internet connection, probably heard of Critical Role. I'm like the queen of smoothness today. I should just release an R&B album. Yeah, coming soon, my mixtape. Huh?
Bring it up. Yeah, I said you're wonderful. You are a magnificent GM taking us through this terribly disastrous, awful situation.
I'm excited, man. We got an
Don't worry. Today,
I know the cliffhanger was terrible, and now now literally poor John and I have been betrayed in the worst way imaginable, and I feel closer to you, Bear.
Oh yeah, we built a bond over this, albeit in a very negative light.
Yeah.
Wait, am I out now? Is there no? We're not a thing anymore?
Well, you're still in bed doing what you do. We'll get to you, my dear.
Okay.
What?
You'll figure it out. It's not what you think.
I mean, I know you say sometimes.
What I do. All right.
Doing what you do, being sick, and maybe with frog legs. We'll see. I don't know. Who knows? We'll see. So.
Welcome.
He said it, not me.
Welcome to Open Legend.
Welcome to Open Legend. GM'd by yours truly. Only I could be responsible for such chaos, right? Right. All right.
Or Twitch chat.
Or Twitch chat, yes. Okay, so getting into it, let's do a quick recap. Our heroes left Moondew Watch in the pursuit of studying a relic that a mage named Dahlia had heard tell of. She assembled our band of adventurers They made it across an awful swamp filled with really evil, almost sort of cannibalistic elves, and managed to make it through to a weird sort of shanty town by the edge of the ocean. And here they discovered an odd sort of plague that had been spreading amongst the people, causing them to develop very strange skin conditions and odd mannerisms. Following the rumors of where this plague was originating / where the relic originated from, they managed to find themselves in a cave by the sea, where they were betrayed by one of their own party members, a certain Mr. Chance Bordeaux, who was graciously played by Jesse Cox for the last 2 episodes, who took the relic out right from underneath their noses and made off with it. And now we close in on our 2 heroes, Mr. Jonathan Jericho and Giles Fortinsworth. I'm going to always say Fork and Spoon in my head now because of Jesse. He always called you Giles Fork and Spoon.
Deservingly.
Yeah. So we now center in on our 2 heroes who are in this strange seaside cave, surrounded by deep ones who were before sort of contentedly cooing at an odd altar. And now, upon seeing that their sacred relic is missing and that they're surrounded by these strange insurgents, they've become quite violent. To make matters worse, the cave itself starts rumbling and bits of rubble start coming down around you, and dust starts sifting down from the ceiling and almost like sheets through very small micro cracks. Lee, getting off of your comrade that she has just slain, Brom, quickly sort of flicks her knife to get the blood off of it and looks around her, sort of appraising the situation. She looks over at Giles, almost questioningly, as though what you should do next.
Mademoiselle and Monsieur, I do believe our time here has quite run out. I believe our welcome has been worn and we should likely be off.
I can agree with that. She looks around the room where at the far end of the hall she sees what might be a adequate exit. However, there are 4 strange fish-like beings between you and the exit.
I graciously offer my hand if she's still giving a chance to get up in order to bring her up, because even in the midst of chaos and anarchy, Mr. Fultonsworth, Viscount Fultonsworth, will not be a gentleman, at least be a gentleman about it. As he turns to Jonathan, goes, shall we, as they say in, sorry, I'm missing my notes. As we say over in the outpost, make a hole?
No sense wasting any more time.
Then I would like to go straight to the 4 deep ones who are blocking our path and strafe and shoot.
Okay. All right. Perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and, are you following Jonathan?
Yes, I'll go ahead and pull out my sword as well.
Okay.
Here's my notes.
Following your lead, Lee decides to take up the rear. She's put away her sniper rifle and at this point is just holding her combat knife and is kind of strafing backwards behind you, just making sure that she can keep up with you. And you move forward. The deep ones sort of start to move around you, realizing what it is you're trying to do. What do you do? As one of them sort of cuts you off and 2 of them break off and start to come around the sides.
Jasmine, if I may ask, is there any telling signs that may perceive that these deep ones may be some of the disappearing citizens of Woe's Herald?
Yeah.
That we should be aware of, like consciously, like in a humanitarian way, be aware of?
Yeah. Can you roll for knowledge?
Do you want me to do knowledge? Okay, yes.
Yeah.
Can and will and shall do. Knowledge. Would you prefer learning? Or perception or logic?
Actually, you know what? Logic would probably be ideal here.
I'm good at logic.
Oh, good. Oh, 21, perfect. So, based off of the descriptions of some of the people who have gone missing, as well as randomly kind of seeing bits of fabrics of like clothing and accessories here and there, maybe a stray shoe, you do pick up that these are perhaps the villagers that you have heard of, and maybe this is where they have been disappearing to.
Oh, man. No. As I breach up through the main line and starting to look at what is possibly a terrible situation, our lives are currently at stake, and I look at these people and I see the little rags of bits of cloth on them and identifying them as potentially citizens in sight of Woe's Herald, and I despairingly attempt to, at least in... You see, unfortunately, my boomstick is not very good at disabling, is the problem. So, I'm going to do a personal roll just to see if this is my life or theirs. My life. We're going to do our best to not hurt them tremendously, but let's just make it... Oh, I got it. Giles will attempt to shoot in the air, making the loudest boom that he possibly can, since this gun of mine is extremely loud, to see if I can at least stun them enough for Jonathan to potentially bar right through.
Okay, go ahead and roll for it.
Yes. Does that seem like an amicable option for you, my bulky friend?
I can certainly be amenable to that.
Excellent.
Although I personally find no folly in cutting our way through to the exit in this situation.
A 14 would be Giles'.
14. So, your gun, you lift your gun up in the air and shoot it, and there's a loud booming sound, and the cave has already sort of been shaking and trembling, and this last blast actually knocks a piece of the rock loose above you. I'm gonna have you roll for your agility.
Oh no! Loud noises coupled with more loud noises means rocks on my head.
And Jonathan, I'm gonna have you roll as well.
Evasion.
My rolls today.
And Giles brings the rock down upon Jonathan and Giles' head. Thus, the campaign ends.
So you rolled a 12?
15 and a 12 for us.
15 and a 12. Okay. So that is enough. So both of you deftly move out of the way. And so does Lee, seeing the folly that you've just committed as she manages to sort of duck and roll. And as sort of pieces of this sandstone-like rock fall from the ceiling, one of them comes down squarely upon the creature that was blocking your path, and immediately you just see red mist as this creature is completely obliterated, absolutely destroyed. Nothing is left. I rolled a 1, so like he's gone. He is gone.
Jonathan sees this, also, having just narrowly avoided the same fate. Looks back at the party. Time to go!
Lee leads the way, seeing what has happened and not trusting you to make any more wise decisions. She immediately leaps forward, stepping onto the rock that actually crushed the poor previous villager, and immediately sort of uses it as a boost, leaps over and heads off towards this opening. Do you follow?
Yes. In fact, at this point, I'm assuming someone's leading me by my hand.
I think, I grabbed Giles as I said that and definitely yanked him and just running down this cave.
Oh, I'm so sorry, you poor creature. Oh,
just come on!
I promise I'll write to your family.
As you're moving through this dark hallway, you hear small, almost whispers and moans as you're going through, and the rocks are kind of falling and tumbling around you, and you come upon this sort of leveled off land because you've slowly been moving upwards at an incline, and it starts to level out, and here suddenly Lee puts out her arm and stops Jonathan in his tracks. And she very carefully looks down and points out almost like a very oddly shaped loose stone. And just from looking at her gesture and the look in her face, you realize that she believes it to be a trap.
I am not proficient in traps.
Yeah.
This may be outside of my realm of knowledge.
I'll have a look at it. What should I roll?
Let's see. Actually, I will have you roll.
To make matters worse, Jasmine, if I may, Giles hasn't been seeing this much danger in this part of the adventure up to this point, and I fortunately think his cowardice might start to activate at this point.
Okay.
And let's see what Jonathan comes up with, but Giles may or may not just be ready to activate the flight in the fight or flight part of this situation.
Okay. So I'm going to actually have you roll for logic.
Okay. That went through, yeah?
What'd you get?
What'd you
Did I
roll?
go on the board?
You got an 18.
Yes.
Oh, perfect. So you rolled an 18. So Jonathan very deftly takes out some of his blacksmith tools from his bag, and being somewhat aware of the kind of mechanisms that make this type of trap work, he quickly sets about disarming it and removing different pieces from it. Lee is very impressed with your work and pats you on the back, and she says, "We may want to be careful moving out through here."
Oh me, oh my, oh me. It seems the rocks are still coming down, and I believe I still hear those creatures coming after us. Oh please, oh my. I'm going to bolt down the hallway.
Oh no, okay. Go ahead, and I would like for you to make an agility check.
All right.
Jonathan's absolutely going to attempt to either chase him down or stop him in his tracks, if at all possible.
Okay.
All right. Let's see how we freaking did. 15.
15. Okay, so that is enough. As you, well, actually, let's do, Bear, why don't you roll to stop him?
Agility check as well?
Yeah, I'm gonna have you guys both roll for agility, see who's more agile.
Oh. He's a little bit.
Jonathan reaches out to stop the flighty Giles Forsensworth, but unfortunately, Giles and his speed just ducks right underneath his big arm and goes swoop right through
Giles, damn it!
And somehow manages
the bag is jingling, and my knees with my knee-high socks are as high as they possibly can go as I'm just up and down this hall like, no!
You see small trinkets and bits and pens and quills come rolling down the hall after him, and magically he manages to avoid any traps or rocks as he's fleeing head first through this hallway, face first through this hallway, leaving you and Lee looking at each other, and Lee, looking at you, shrugs and immediately bolts after him, thinking if it worked for him, clearly it will work for her.
Oh no.
And that just leaves you. It's up to you and what you want to do.
Jonathan, left with no choice, bolts right on after him.
Okay.
You have to roll
So I'll
again,
have you
I guess,
roll for agility.
Yeah. All right.
I'm a terrible person.
Oh.
Oh no.
That is a 7.
That is a 7. As you are fleeing, you do manage to activate a trap. And as you step on this sort of loose tile, an arrow comes shooting out of the side of the wall and nicks you right in the back of your calf. This throws you off a little bit, and you stumble a bit, and you slow down. And now at your reduced pace, as you're coming up through the cave, a large piece of loose rock comes down and falls down on you, just maybe 100 feet away from the opening of the cave where you can see sunlight outside. Turning around and seeing what has happened, General Lee immediately tosses her rifle to Giles nearby and runs back into the cave in an attempt to help you. Okay, so
Jonathan is the heroic sort as he sees General Lee coming back. Don't come back! Keep going!
She does not listen to you. With her military background and her stone cold training, she is used to running into the face of danger. She comes back and quickly starts to sort of leverage some of her weight against this sort of large rock to try in an attempt to unpin your damaged ankle. Will you attempt to help her?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna have you do a might roll.
Okay. Oh my god.
A 5. Luckily for you, Lee rolled a 20.
Hey! All right.
But because you can't help her, this effort takes her far too long. She starts to lift this bit of rock, just enough for you to get your leg out, and she quickly says to you, go, run!
I get up and I just bolt.
And she, as soon as you're free, she lets go of the rock and she finds herself face to face with one of these deep ones. And she says to you, I'll hold them back. Run. Make for the beach.
I'll, if you don't mind, since I have the general's gun, if you don't mind, as long as I have the general's gun, I think I will take a pop shot at the one who is standing right by her as a parting gift for her heroic efforts in freeing Jonathan.
You can attempt to do so, yeah.
Thank you.
But you are going to take a -1 disadvantage because you are still scared and flustered, and I feel like you wouldn't
I
be.
completely. But if you don't mind, Jasmine,
Mhm.
would I be allowed a legend point before my despicable act of cowardice?
At what point?
A legend point?
Oh, yes, sure.
May I use it now
Yes.
to cancel it out?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. We can. I will retroactively give you one.
Okay. I appreciate it. I will. Let's see how Giles does with this.
Here we go, crit. Yes. That's not bad. That's not bad.
not bad.
It's a dirty crit, but I'll take it.
Hey,
Okay, so let's see. Let's roll a 20.
My mind's eye is just picturing this perfect moment where Giles just is running like a chicken through this tunnel. And just as she's faced with danger, it's just pow. All right, sorry.
So the sniper rifle lets out a large crack that echoes through the tunnel. You are standing in the opening of it, and Lee looks up and sees your silhouette. This bullet goes streaking right past her ear uncomfortably close, and it immediately just clips the deep one in the shoulder, and it like lets out this ululating shriek and starts to fall. And she starts to run up, seeing that you've created an opening for her. Let's see if she will make it.
I'd like if I could to see that the sniper shot was successful, run back and maybe give her a hand trying to get out of the cave now as well if I could.
Okay. Go ahead and try to roll for it. This is a warning though. She did roll really. She may have rolled a nat 1.
Oh, okay.
But roll for it anyway. We'll see how it goes.
We going agility here too?
Yes.
Okay.
You gotta be agile.
Oh, man.
No.
Sadly,
8.
your footing is not as the ground now is shaking heavily and your footing isn't steady enough. And just as you're about to go back for her, you realize that this is folly. You cannot make it. As a loose piece of rock comes down and falls in your way, you waver for just a moment. And in that moment, Lee immediately trips and falls flat on her face and starts to sort of army crawl towards the opening. Unfortunately, in this time, there's so much rubble falling loose from the opening of this cave that a large boulder falls and blocks your line of sight, and you no longer see the good general.
I have a half-second moment of somber realization before turning around and bolting out of the entrance to the cave.
And as you do this, I'm going to have you both make one last agility check.
Oh, hey, there we go. Okay.
18, good.
A little bittersweet now, but I'll take it.
11.
11, all right. And it is at this moment you hear a loud whirring sound, and it thunders through the sky. And as you look up, you see this strange, multi-sided, almost spherical polyhedral shape come barreling down from the sky. It is bright red, and it hits the sand with a large thud and sand goes blasting everywhere, and it leaves a crater, and it continues to roll, and it smacks up against the rock wall where you just were as you both leap out of the way in a nick of time. And out of it emerges the strangest man through this glowing door that opens with steam almost coming out from the inside.
You watch as a very lanky, almost like gray, nearly translucent looking skin man emerges with a coat and a bundle of weird rags tousled around his shoulders. His hair is slicked back, but then it kind of puffs out kind of like a Nega Willy Wonka. And as he kind of waves the mist from the front of his face, he goes, well, that definitely ruined the refrigerator. He steps off and lands under the sand and kind of dusts himself off. So, where am I?
Oh my, well, if this day didn't get any weirder, you're on the beach, good sir.
I'm just completely flabbergasted. I can't even talk. Just staring at him.
What? Vessel? Question mark?
Vessel works. It is a word that could function, yes. We'll say for vessel. It is my vessel. I am Rynal Mandor. Pleasure to meet you and your very quiet, gawking friend. So you say beach. Is this a beach world?
Beach world? No, I'm sorry. The words that you're saying together are insinuating a lot, but it's been a very odd day already, so I'm going to make an assumption and say that you don't know where you are because you appeared here from a different plane. Is it a different plane of existence? Are you a dimensional hopper?
You are very astute. I imagine he would probably have the same thought, but could not muster the gumption to say it out loud. I respect you. Just 1 second. He climbs... Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was saying he climbs awkwardly back into his vessel, far less suave as his entrance was, rummages and reaches in for an awkward 20 seconds before coming out with what looks like a flask and goes, okay. So, where are you going?
We're going out of here, but 1 second. I look to Jonathan, who I'm assuming is still dumbfounded. I run up and I start pulling all of his little pieces of clothes aside. I just get kind of involved in his personal space a little bit just to investigate. More importantly, trying to look behind him to see if I can get a look inside of that vessel a little bit, because fascinating is what this is. What is it? It flies. It's flying, but I don't see any wings. Is it propelled by some type of force?
Flying is a term. It falls gently in directions other than down, is what I like to say. It's more of an obtuse form of locomotion, which is a speciality of me and my people. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. You, and I point over towards Jonathan, who's kind of still dumbfounded on the beach. Your friend is talking in circles. You, tell me, where are we beyond just the beach?
We're outside of Woe's Herald. I'm sorry, we just lost our friend, and listen, there's a lot happening. If you'd like to come, you're welcome, but Giles, we need to go.
Oh, of course. No, of course. The relic. Oh God, Aureylian. She must be in terrible pain. We must get back to her. You and we are looking forward to a quiet conversation later once things calm down a bit. But yes, please join us.
Fair enough. I lift up my hand and click something in my hand, and you hear a beep, beep, and the door slams shut on the spherical vessel as it kind of shimmers, and then seems to vanish from sight temporarily.
Jonathan jaw is like down to the fucking floor. He has no idea what's going on here, but he quickly gathers himself again.
I wonder if you're using the same technology as all of the portals. And Giles is just talking, not to anybody, but to himself. Primarily.
Giles! Rynal, is that what you said? We're heading back to Woe's Herald. Would you like to join us?
It would be my pleasure, because, there's nobody else around here anywhere near as interesting, so lead the way.
Oh, good. Excellent. Well, it seems we've come across. I'll do my best to debrief him on everything that's happened up to this point as we are stumbling through the forest back to get into Woe's Herald.
Yes. So the three of you make off back in the direction you came from. A little bit saddened by your loss and by General Lee's brave sacrifice. a little bit confused by where this gentleman popped up from, why he's here. But oddly enough, it's not the strangest thing you've seen lately. There have been all these tears lately from which all manner of creature have come through, whether they be strange goblin-esque creatures, one could describe them as gremlins mayhaps, with strange red headbands and office supply, weaponry, or maybe strange cloaking creatures with long dreads and claws on their arms and
who knows?
The ability to blast lasers. Out of all these strange things you've seen lately, this is definitely probably the worst, or not the worst, but the strangest creature you've seen pop up out of nowhere. But on some level, you understand that the world is bigger than you originally thought when you first landed in Amaurea's Dawn.
Well, Amaurea's Dawn.
Oh, yes.
We are basically dealing with a portal leading into Amaurea's Dawn anyway. The fact that another trans-dimensional creature could be jumping down inside of our space, it's not the oddest. In fact, he could be here because of the portal. I turn to Jonathan and say, do you think he may hold the same technology as used inside of the portal to bring us into Amaurea's Dawn?
I can't quite tell for sure, but I feel as though I could make a guess that he didn't just arrive here by chance.
Yes, he may hold the secret as to why these things are happening. Excellent, interesting. Well, we should probably talk to Tavarak about what's going on back at Woe's Herald.
Yes, and since our revelation of Brahm, I don't hesitate on taking my gut instinct at its value anymore.
True. We have to be more cautious about who we bring as friends into our little circle.
This is true. Friends are very important. And suddenly,
where did you come from?
Quite literally appeared right in the center of the guy's conversation. Like you just noticed him there.
Jesus Christ. Oh, I'm sorry. Rynal, I have to say, your appearance on this planet or this dimension seems to have just been as much of a shock to us as it is to you. Did you have a purpose before crash landing on this beach?
To be perfectly honest, I kind of have no idea. This vessel, while it is currently at my disposal, it belonged to a friend, and the friend said I could take it out for a spin, and I may have pressed the wrong button and ended up here. So
I am pleased to see that your little joyride landed you amongst with us. So
I will reserve judgment from my perspective once I see where it is you're going.
Right. Well, I do warn you, we have been, unfortunately, running into danger literally every minute of our tiny journey here. So we will not hold it against you if you decide to take a safer route, let's say.
I'm much more somber about that note. I turn to him. Stay on your toes.
Very well.
I think we're going to head back into Woe's Herald and try to meet up immediately with Dr. Tavarak. Unfortunately, not bringing much more than just... Jasmine, did we get samples of the deep ones, hopefully, to bring back for Aureylian?
I don't believe you remembered to. Things happened very quickly. I wouldn't
blame you.
You
It got a little chaotic there, yeah.
In fact, I think, unfortunately, maybe one of our less trustworthy members may have done it, but not Jonathan or I. Okay.
Lee may have, but we all know what happened to Lee.
Yeah.
Can thank Jonathan's awful rules for that. No, just kidding.
You can, really.
And on that note, I do, on the note of rifts and crazy interdimensional creatures, I just want to remind everyone that it is Free Key Friday. So for every sub, we are giving away a free Steam key, and every 5 subs spawns a chaos die, which makes strange and chaotic things happen in this world. I can't write this crap. It just happens, okay? All right. So as you head back towards Woe's Herald and make your way back to Tavarak's house, you hear a strange, almost clattering chaos coming from within.
Inside Woe's Herald?
Inside Tavarak's house.
Oh my. I put my finger up to Jonathan, or my mouth, and look up to Jonathan and try to slowly pull. Is it still a cloth door?
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm start to pull open the door just ever so slightly and see the peek inside and see if I can see what all the commotion is about at the moment.
You see long red hair sort of flash right by the door, and then, like a blur, and you see Nanki running after it, like just very quickly, right in front of your eyesight.
And then I'm going to pull the curtain back. Nanki, what's going on inside of here?
And
Nanki.
you see Nanki grabbing a candlestick and pointing it threateningly at a strange blue creature with red hair, who you vaguely can tell from the clothing used to be your dear friend, Nimha.
Oh no.
Do you want to say anything, Aureylian?
Pissed.
Well, you can say
what's
something
going
in
on.
character too.
What?
You can say something in character
Oh
too.
no, that is me in character.
Oh,
I mean, I've been out for, I don't know what, two days.
2-3
likely?
days, yeah.
2-3 days, and I remember we were getting to the doctor's house, and now I'm woken up in a strange place I don't know, and I'm blue, and none of my friends are there, and I don't know where anyone is. This is no good. I'm gonna find my way out like an assassin would.
Yeah, unfortunately, that has pretty much upset Nanki, and she is now threateningly holding a candlestick at you. Nimma's skin is almost scaly. She's almost started to develop strange gill-like appendages near her throat, and these weird. Her hair has started to turn into almost like weird, thick, like tentacle type of. Bits of it have started to harden almost and turn chitinous. Actually, would be a better word than tentacular.
So, noticing what's going on, I think Jonathan is behind Giles, looking in, peeking through the curtain. He says, "Go get Nanki. I'll take care of Niva."
Okay. Nanki, it's fine. It's just Nimma. And I come up and I kind of put my arms around Nanki and turn her towards me while trying to pull something shiny out of my backpack in order to distract her with it, while Jonathan is going to break the news.
I approach Niva and, I am wondering whether or not she's actually able to converse with me normally still. So I approach and I'm sort of hesitant to really speak, but then I get closer. Niva?
Yeah, where have you been? Right?
On your end, what you hear is a talaki.
Oh no.
I think we might have a problem talking to Giles.
And I'm
what?
I understand them.
Yes,
Still.
you understand them. Yes.
So I unaware of anything that am going on and just furiously screaming at them. Not even high pitched screaming, but in a very you mother, you left me here. You didn't explain what's going on. Where have you been? Just constantly naggy, real naggy and real angry, just yelling at him furiously.
We walked in at 4 a.m. and you're like, where have you been all night kind of situation.
Yes. Yes.
I'm
and
going
now
to...
they have this other guy with them who I don't know who he is. Last I know, they were with the guy we helped escape, and now he's gone, and there's someone else here. I'm pissed. I'm real pissed.
While I'm comforting Nanki, I will turn to Rynald and Rynald, I know we've only known you for, call it 15 minutes at most, but your little vessel wouldn't happen to have some advanced technology to help our little friend, would you, by any chance, suppose?
I can certainly go back and check. I was given the once-over of the vehicle enough to put it to go somewhere, and apparently where the refrigerator functioned, which is now broken. If it is refrigerator adjacent, it is possible. I have to go and look once more. I'm not a specialist in mechanical technologies per se. I'm more specialized in a few other things. However, your friend is yelling, screaming, and scratching at the air quite a bit. Your friend, right? This is your friend?
And she was and still is our friend, yes. Unfortunately, to catch you up a bit, you may have heard that there was a little bit of a plague or an outbreak that has been going on inside of this Woes Herald. Those little creatures, I know, but...
I leave. I leave immediately. I put my skin near the front. Nope.
To be fair, we have no idea how it's been transmitting, but it doesn't seem to be by air. Those creatures that you may have seen us running from, that seems to have been what is going on. So, yes.
So what you're saying, so it is not contagious less by one of these creatures you're talking about? Is it possible that these creatures themselves could be the source of a way of cleansing or getting rid of this disease?
That's unfortunately what we were investigating before a very precious relic to the local peoples around Rose Herald, was taken by people who we thought were close to us. You can see our apprehension a bit. We were investigating that source when your thingy appeared out of the sky.
So I'm like listening to like what he's saying, and like at this point I've been yelling at Jonathan so much I have him like grabbed by the shirt. So I'm like dragging him by the shirt closer to Giles and being like just glaring, like death glare. Like I've been asleep for 3 days and you've lost everything. I'm just continuing to like rail as I'm grabbing Jonathan like by the shirt, dragging him closer to where
Jonathan
they are.
has this look in his eyes of, please God help me. I don't know what to do.
Nim, we're doing everything we can right now. I'm sorry that you're in this state, and unfortunately you're speaking but no words are coming out. I apologize for your current state, but we can't do much more about it now. We have a new acquaintance here who may potentially help us. Otherwise, we have to track down what happened to this relic. I have a feeling what you're turning into, I'm sorry to be so blunt about it, is directly tied into this relic.
So I just like let go of Jonathan's shirt and I just like throw my hands up in the air and just start grunting and just walking backwards, just pacing the room, just really frustrated.
Dr. Tavarik comes in with
finally, Dr. Tavarik.
With a bag, and he has like almost a small metal like cylindrical thing with a handle on it that clearly has milk in it, and has a bag that has like eggs and fruit and all these things in it, and he comes in and sees what's going on and just sees you restraining Nanki, sees this strange creature like and walking back and forth, sees the strange gentleman dressed in a garb he's never seen, and just kind of stands there for a moment, and then slowly puts down the gallon of milk, adjusts his glasses, picks up the gallon of milk, and then just quietly walks into the kitchen while ignoring everything, and calmly starts to put everything away, not quite sure of what to make of everything, while collecting his thoughts. And he starts doing his mind exercises while he sort of starts to put on a pot of tea, and he goes, yes, so there's 1 by 1 and 2 by 2, and he starts reciting the periodic table and all of the things that make him feel safe, and he starts doing his multiplication tables while making strange just sort of gestures with his hands. I'm like, yes, everything has to be even, no odd numbers. Yeah, we'll have 2. There's 4 people here. Does a fish count as a person? Does it count as 2 people? I don't know. Does it count as
Jonathan
half a person? How many people does it count as? How many eggs do I need to make 4 omelets? Do I make 4 omelets?
Grabs one of his hands, puts it down on the counter. Dr. Tavarik, we have a bit of a problem.
Yes. Have you learned anything more about Nim's condition?
Well, that was your job, was it not?
No, I know, and unfortunately, the sample.
Where is Lee? Where's General Lee? What is happening in my home right now? Where's the good general?
Listen, Doctor. There was a hang-up. General Lee didn't make it, but we is she late? Is she will she be back later today or
we lost her.
Oh, so you became separated in the forest?
No, well, unfortunately,
she is a very good tracker. Huh?
We lost her amongst a large cave-in inside of the cave in which the relic was supposed to be. Dr. Tavarik, I'm not saying that your friend is dead. However, I'm saying that it is unlikely that she is alive. That being said, we were unfortunately betrayed by Chance and his little friend Brom, and we are in a position now in which we need your help with Nim. The sample was lost. The relic is lost. Has Chance by any chance come back? Has he come back by here?
No, he hasn't, no.
All right, so He must have left town then. Oh, jeez.
I slowly push into the conversation and go,
Oh.
would you perhaps know how to fix a refrigerator?
Sir, what? A what?
I just curious. You
My
seem-
manners. What am I meaning? Rynal, this is Dr. Tavark. Dr. Tavark, this is Rynal. Rynal is a...
Oh, yes. Pleased to meet you, sir. Pleased to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you. That's fine. Okay.
Yes.
I am here trying to find, first off, let's say level of technology available to you, as you seem so surprised by my transferring vessel, as you called it. Are we working with like sticks and fire, or is this more of an advanced you mentioned placeholder?
Sticks and fire. No, no, sir, no. We have stoves.
I look at Giles while he asks that, very confused.
What, Jonathan?
As he's mentioning or asking what our technology level is, I look at you just confused by his approach here.
It's, I apologize, but I think it's become abundantly clear that our friend here has... he's a visitor from our little space, and I still honestly believe that there may be a little bit of a hope in here. Rynal, you said that your vessel, you're not really quite sure how it works or how it moves. At the same time, I have a feeling your one way out of here may be a part of us tracking down these two miscreants who are not only...
Well, what would make you believe that? Out of where? Where did he come from? Where are you? Where are you from? Are you from Schlachtenberg?
Yes, Schlachtenberg. Perfect. Yes, you've been there. Wonderful. It is nice to meet you, Doctor. So you have a crazy blue lady. You have a missing friend, possibly on the rocks. I think what you were saying. And from what current circumstances say, encroaching fish peoples, bad things. If I can be of service to you, I'm happy to do so. I just would really like someone or anyone you know who perhaps is a stove specialist, as you say, have a look at the refrigerator. I think that's what shorted out the vessel. And if that is fixed, I believe at least we can continue the circuit. We can get the energy flow back to it, and I can be on my way and not have to bother any of you again.
Well,
We are wasting time. We have to go find Chance. Chance has the relic.
Well, it is entirely possible that General Lee may have been of use there. I don't know if you remember, but she was quite good with technology. What with all of her advanced gadgets.
Well, she's not an option anymore, is she, Doctor?
Well, I don't know. You tell me. I sent my best friend with you, and you came back empty-handed.
Yeah, to Dr. Tavark, it's not your fault, and I apologize, Jonathan. We all have a lot of heightened emotions at the moment, and I assure you that we're not saying that anything's wrong with General Lee yet. There's a chance that she is still alive, but we need to find Chance. This is important. Can you help us rally any other help around here to see if we can track him down? Because there's likelihood that he is heading back to Schlachtenberg in order to pawn this thing off.
So as they're like all arguing, I'm just like making tons of like clattering and clamoring noises, and I'm like really angrily like strapping on all of my like assassin gear, my knives, and all of the gear that I have before. I'm re-putting it all back on and just storm into the middle of their conversation, and I just like point at Jonathan, and then I point at the door, and I'm like, we're leaving. Like now,
Right.
We're going.
I think Nim has the right idea. Let us go and track our old friend, Chance. I'm going to follow Nim out through the door.
As we're leaving, I picked up on what Rynal said about the stove and realized that he's kind of looking for an escape. I pull him aside real quick. Look, I don't know who you are or where you came from, but strangers have not been boding well for us. So as long as you're here, you're staying within my sight.
That I think it'd behoove for both of us. I carry no weapons. I'm not an aggressor or a fighter. In fact, I work best in groups. So I survive by having friends.
Works for me.
All right, so we're going to... I believe maybe our best course of action is to go back to where we first came in when Chance lead us in and see if there's any tracks that may have led to him. Dr. Tvark is so shocked at the moment, Jonathan. Do you know anyone else in Woe's Herald who could potentially help us track Chance?
Do I? GM, do I know anyone else?
Actually, why don't you go for a, let's see, what would that be? I'm gonna say a learning roll.
Okay.
It would be like a, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you're going to remember, Dr. Tvark mentioning one of Lee's friends from the bar that she had mentioned before.
Wasn't there Lee? Lee had a friend. Remember the doctor mentioned her.
We don't have a lot of time. Every moment they could possibly be farther out of Woe's Herald, so... but at the same time, you and I are not trackers inside of this forest. We were led in here by Dahlia, and then we are brought in here by Chance.
You suddenly hear a whistling behind you, and you notice it is Nanki carrying her little cellulose sack full of all her random things, and she's kind of like marching very eagerly behind you guys, and she's like, just like like whistling and like kicking up dust, and she comes and stands next to Niva and like holds her hand, and she's just ready to make off with you guys now.
Nanki, you do know it's very dangerous, Nanki.
She just like smiles at you with a wide toothy grin.
No.
And I just like look at him as she's like grinning. I'm holding her hand and I'm just telling him to like, shh, just let her help. Like,
no, I know. I'm so happy. It's be nice to have something beautiful join us. Of course you can come, Nanki. Your group is very, very happy to have you with us.
She smiles and claps her hands, and her sort of keeper, Tvark, is standing in the doorway as you're, now outside of his home, and he sort of strokes his chin. He says, Nanki, being of the Nivanellians and having such a strong sort of power over her genetics, she was able to develop special vocal cords just to speak with us back in when we first came across her. There's a chance maybe she could learn to either speak with your friend or speak for her.
Nanki, would you be willing to act as interpreter for Nim?
And she reaches out her hands and places them around Nim's throat. Let's see. All right, and with that, she does successfully sort of develop an ability, and suddenly you see her excitedly speaking back to Nim with like a weird, like ululating tone that makes no sense to any of you, but makes perfect sense to Nim. And she says very like seriously, she says, I could take you guys where you want to go. I am a great tracker.
So I understand her though, right?
Yes, completely,
right.
Completely.
Okay. So when I hear her talking to me, I'm like, oh my God, you can finally understand me. You have to fix this. Like, and I start just panicking. Like, we have to change this. We have to fix this. Do you know where we need to go? Can you help me? I don't know what they've been doing. Like, and just rambling on and on and on, very like nervously and kind of excited because we have someone who finally understands me, and just start freaking out.
She just like kind of like smiles and reaches out and touches your hair and strokes it. And then she goes, Neva! And then when she sees she has your attention, she goes, no. And then she stops stroking your hair, because she is a very strange creature, and takes you by the hand and starts marching forward while looking very like bent over, like really close down at the floor, and like poking about with her bare toes and moving rocks and dust aside. And she just tromps off with one hand on you and like bent over and just like stomping with her bare feet on the ground, leaving little footsteps wherever she goes.
I kind of like jerk forward and I just sigh, like I'm exhausted and just done with this. So as she like starts pulling me forward, I just grab Jonathan, who's like the next closest person to me, and I like grab him by his shirt, which is where I normally grab him by, and he just like start dragging him with me, like we're going. And I'm like looking at him like, come on.
At this point, I've got like a little wrinkle in my shirt where Niva has continually been grabbing me, and it's really developed a pretty good.
That's my
hold
wrinkle,
there.
man.
Yeah.
You're gonna love that wrinkle when I'm gone.
I think Giles has this aha moment where he realizes, even though he can't understand Nanki, he realizes now that, oh, Nanki, of course, you're Niminelian. You must know these woods like the back of your hands. Yes, please, go. Find Chance so that we might give him a good fisticuff.
And she just, like, looks up at you while still holding Nima's hand like you're a crazy person, and just, like, shakes her head and rolls her eyes and continues to tromp along in a very strange, bent-over fashion while just, like, kicking aside little rocks and bits with her toes and almost dusting away a little path with her strange little leaf-like toes.
Since since Jonathan's being pulled by Nim, I'll go and hang out with our new visitor friend. It's such an interesting group, wouldn't you say? I have to say I was an outsider myself not but 48 hours ago, but they have a certain charm to them once you've spent enough time.
I can certainly imagine. I have not reached that time yet, so the charm has not won me over, but I look forward to that time at some point in the near future.
Oh, good.
Can I help her with like analyzing what's going on?
Yeah, definitely.
So I roll perception.
Yeah.
Okay.
13. So you definitely pick out amongst like the sort of trail like that she's cleared out in the coastal woods, which is now where she's sort of led you. You do pick out like a man's boot here and there where she's just like there's like the smallest indentation of like the heel of a man's boot, or a branch that's been snapped that she's sort of like that you point out to Nanki, which only helps her sort of pick up the trail even that much clearer and that much faster.
So I'm gonna look back at Jonathan and Giles and the rest of the group and make sure that they're aware that we found a boot print, since I can't talk to them and she's so busy focusing on what she's doing, that just make sure that they see that we're on something. We have
good. She's caught the scent. Excellent. Oh, good. We're going to catch up with them. Oh, I'm certainly have a word or two to exchange with Chance.
No, I will not say you had words to exchange, but you seem to insinuate these people are probably armed and very dangerous. Do you expect to bring more than just words, or...?
We do have a couple of armaments. I have my blunderbuss, and I actually seem to have inherited a sniper rifle, it would seem. I'm holding one in each hand.
I just turn to him and I like show him that I have like the 6 knife holsters on my like thighs, and just look at him like, we're fine.
That actually brings an excellent question. You said yourself that you're not an aggressive person. What should we do should we come across danger with you?
Stay in front of me, preferably, is my whole plan. Stay between them and me. I'll help you out, don't worry. I have my ways to be of assistance. I just, I'm not good with the trigger and the aiming specifically, so...
Good.
Thank you.
We have such a motley crew, as they say. We're going to...
We're certainly well prepared, aren't we? Jonathan says begrudgingly.
I know.
I'm gonna push forward and start speeding up the pace and kind of take the lead instead of making Nanki do all of it, now that I've seen the boot print, and keep trying to like search for more clues and push forward.
Okay.
I can see where the charm is starting to kick in as we wander into the rather heavily forested wastelands behind the little girl, the blue woman. So, my Wednesday could have been less interesting. Continue, please.
Do you need to roll perception again?
No, you're fine.
Okay.
So, as you pick up this trail and make your way through the coastal woods that you sort of made your way through originally when you first went into this cave, you're now following along a different path that branches off to the side, and it's almost like this sort of ridge, and down below you see the coast, as well as where even though it's out of sight because it would have been recessed, the cave that you were in before, and where you would have had your sort of flying craft would have been parked, is below you, and you're now almost along this ridge of cliffs that is just overlooking the beach that you were in earlier, where you're here and there picking up a boot print. At one point, Nanki points out another strange footstep to you that you're not quite sure what it's definitely a human's foot, but it doesn't look like the other boot print you picked up. It's much smaller and lighter. And she points it out to you and like looks at you eagerly. And with that, you continue on. Not seeing that.
Is there a chance I'm sorry to interrupt. Can I activate Observant, which is one of the
you can.
skills I have?
Yes, you can do that once per session. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the once per session thing, just to see if I can glean a little more information off of that unique boot prints.
Definitely.
Pop. Okay. I would like to look. I'd stand over.
I'm always waiting for the roll on that, and then I remember that you don't roll for that it automatically succeeds.
It's one of those things. But I'll paint
every
the picture,
single time. Okay.
Giles will bend over and kind of one of those moments in which the cowardice just gets out of his brain, and he stoops over and starts looking at it with the analytical mind of a cartographer as he continues to sit over every little detail, hoping that maybe he's also picked up Andalia's trail just as much as Chance's.
Well, looking at the print and using your observant abilities, you notice it is a lot more shallow than the other boot print, and it is smaller. So it's definitely that of either someone, maybe one of the fairer sex, or maybe just a creature who is very light-footed and smaller in stature with small feet. Another thing you notice, just from looking at it at the angle, is you kind of piece together a bit of information that you wouldn't have known before. That this person or creature was trailing the first one. Just looking at the angle of where the boot print is and the behind a tree and the way it's sort of sitting back, you quickly piece together that maybe someone was following Chance.
So Chance is being stalked in just as much as we are stalking them.
Yes, you are now stalking his stalker, technically.
So who's following us?
Jonathan, I believe we are now the third line of a great stalking tree. It seems Chance currently has someone else looking after him as well.
All the more reason for me to keep eyes on our new friend, I imagine.
So,
should we press forward?
Indeed.
As you press forward, it starts to get late. You hear the ocean crashing below you. It's a very peaceful and lovely view as you make your way along this coastal ridge. And at this moment, Nanki just randomly decides that she's had quite enough. And she moves away from the path you've sort of been following. And out of her cellulose pack, she starts to pull out, just a little flint and tinder and some furs and things that she's pulled out of her bag to sleep on. And she starts looking around for wood, not really with consulting with any of you, but just deciding that she's had enough for today.
Yeah, well, I believe we're making camp. I will pull my tea set out of Nanki's cellulose bag because I know it's there. It's been there for a long time.
Yes.
I'll start preparing tea for thee.
And she actually pulls out a very special aromatic bag of almost thin satin and hands it to you, and it's her own special tea blend that she has put together just for you.
Oh, now we're talking.
Random teas she's gathered from all over the forest, being a collector and whatnot. She
Maybe
leaves it. She takes your hand, puts it inside and closes it, pats it, leaves it in your good care, and moves off and starts to gather other random things from around the camp area because that is what she does.
I'm just, as I observe him getting excited about this tea and she's all getting ready, I just kind of huff and walk off and start angrily trying to knock down really thin tree sticks to gather firewood. I just start walking off on a direction all by myself.
Okay.
I'll go see what I can find us for supper, go on the hunt.
Okay.
I am being positively useless, staying right where we stopped, and I'm currently drawing things on the ground with a stick and looking up at the sky and making observations, or looking like I'm making observations, but I'm actually doing nothing.
So, do you set about making the tea?
Of course. Well, and I'll pass along a little bit of the wisdom of Giles onto our new friend, and as I'm making tea, and goes, all may be difficult and dark in the world, but at the end of the day, a good cup of tea will bring us all back into civilization and harmony together.
That is a very positive outlook. Maybe slightly naive, but I think overall it helps for hopefully finding help for your friend. So yes,
Naivete is simply that of one who chooses to find happiness over sorrow. So
this is true, but I prefer to be a person who acts to change the circumstances of sorrow so that happiness comes naturally.
yeah, that is fair. So action and reaction, but simply we can't do much more since Nanki has decided to quit for the evening, so best make the best out of a situation, and why not do that over something pleasant? I'll start to pull items out of my bag that are, non-camping. I'm assuming I'm holding on to some good rations, and I'll try to make ourselves a decent dinner with some of the Schlechtenberg best that I have carried with me from the Count's court.
Okay.
I pull out my flask.
I'm gonna walk up behind him with like my arm full of like sticks and stuff, and I'm just gonna like motion towards him like, it's been a day, my friend. Hand the flask over.
Oh, of course.
And I just take the flask and down the whole thing and then just hand it back and then turn around and just like dump all the fire at Giles's feet. Here you go.
Oh, good. Excellent. I'll start making a fire and put it together. Start bringing the tea up.
It was
And
expensive brandy.
and Jonathan, why don't you actually do a perception check to see if you find any game while you're out and about?
Okay. How's that?
Great. So you roll a 10. And what... Okay, so you actually don't... I'm going to say you catch a small rabbit.
Oh, you're too kind to me. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. I feel bad. A tiny rabbit, not fit to feed
right.
maybe more than one person.
Really, I've taken a pretty big blow to my pride. I actually was quite the hunter back home, but have not had as much luck out here with my newfound friends. My shame was pretty heavy coming back with nothing, but I at least have a little trophy to take home today as I come back to the camp with what appears to be a baby bunny, which is just sort of a bit of a moral blow too, but there it is all the same.
I'm gonna walk up to him knowing that he used to be, quite the hunter and the, manly man back when we were in Schlechtenberg. And I'm gonna like sarcastically like, oh, it's for me. And then just like pat him on the back. And then
Of course, all I hear is...
It's very attractive though. It's very attractive.
She's finally starting to give you attention, Jonathan, and she's already halfway to being a deep one.
Isn't this what you wanted?
Exactly, and I'm having a little bit of an internal struggle because I'm like, wow, she's paying attention to me, but now she's a fish. And different.
Good. Jonathan, this will make a great stew for the evening, and I'll start cooking.
Jonathan just sits down,
And
a little defeated still.
As you're cooking, Nanki is back from her little expedition in the woods, and you notice her cellulose bag is quite large, and there's like some struggling going on in it. And she like marches out to you, and then immediately just like empties the cellulose bag like this, and out of it falls like a deer.
Just an entire deer.
And she just smiles. She's fit people in there before. She just smiles and kind of goes,
Jim, get it before it gets away. That's dinner.
I like run after it and just like grab the deer by the back of it and just like slit its throat.
Oh my. That's...
Jonathan just stands up, just pissed off, just goes and has to blow off some steam.
So I'm gonna like look at him as he's like running off and like hand him my knife as a motioning, you want to do the honors, manly man? Come on here.
I think about it for a second. I take it. And I go down and I begin to carve out the meats.
All right, well, I'm going to go set up the tents.
Nanki decides to help you.
That seems to be our evening, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
I'm snoring loudly by one of the sections where the tent you're trying to put together, and I just have my kind of furs bundled up and I'm just loudly snoring, and a bundle go.
Well, I guess he's not taking watch tonight. Fair enough. A little traveler friend is certainly contributing.
When one of the pieces of like deer meat is all cooked and it's like done, I'm just gonna grab it by like the haunch of like the leg, or like I'm picturing a big turkey leg but out of deer, and I'm just gonna walk over to him while he's sleeping and drop it straight in his lap. Very barbaric. I'm just like gnawing on a piece of meat, walking backwards.
Me or Rynal?
Rynal, because he's sleeping. Here you go.
All right. I was, okay, well, I'm going to have to wash myself in the morning now, for 2 reasons, but, thank you.
So after having somewhat of an awkward dinner, you guys enjoy your classy, organic, fair trade tea and your organic local venison, locally sourced venison, grass-fed,
Bag sourced venison.
non-GMO rather, and settle down in your tents, and Nanki is kind of just sitting at the edge of the fire and kind of humming to herself silently and looking off into the sky. And, you know, do you guys go to bed? Do you set a watch? What do you do?
I think it's appropriate that we set a watch still at this point. I think Jonathan and I will... Well, Giles is not used to setting watches. He's having to do a lot of things outside of his comfort zone that he's not really about.
I just like walk over to them and I motion like, I got it. Yeah.
Nim, excellent. Well, thank you for taking the watch. I will go to bed.
I think I'm still wondering whether or not Niva fully understands us, but I do, I acknowledge what she said here, and I take the note.
So, as you take the first watch, nothing happens. The night passes quietly. And Nima wakes up Jonathan for the second watch. Nothing happens. Things pass quietly. And Giles. And sure enough, Giles wakes up Nima again because, our new strange friend chooses not to take a watch at all.
Nope.
Because he doesn't take a watch, at some point, Nimha notices that Nanki has acquired a new scarf for herself, since our friend is quite a deep sleeper, and Nanki has very sticky fingers. So he notices one of his scarves has suddenly gone missing and is now actually around Nanki's neck instead. And she's wearing it with quite some pride and pomp and fare around the campfire.
Keep it. You make it look adorable.
She smiles and whistles and kind of flips it around and puts it around her neck. And for those of you who don't know, Nanki is a strange sort of Nivanelian who has modified her body in ways to where she's almost naked. She's very elven-like, but her hair is almost like tree branches and leaves rather than real hair. And her body is covered in strange mosses and grasses and fungal growths. And yeah, she almost looks like the woods themselves come to life. She wears grasses and leaves around herself, and now she has a very striking scarf around her neck as well that she is quite pleased with. And she's sitting drinking out of a silver teacup, looking out across the edge of the fire. Throughout all your watches, you've noticed that she doesn't really sleep at all, which is quite strange. But maybe being a collector, she's modified her body to where she doesn't need sleep, which makes it a little bit dangerous for you lot, because as we all know, being a collector, she likes to collect all kinds of little things. And so you try to keep the best watch on your equipment that you can, but you don't warn your new friend that is a possibility. And in this, he loses his scarf. sitting there with
pinnacle
her.
of civilization is what she is.
Huh?
So, she's a pinnacle of civilization. She acquires things without knowledge,
Mhm.
and she's scoffed up and teed up, and
Yes. She's
beautiful.
sitting cross-legged at the edge of the fire, looking quite pleased with herself, drinking her tea with both of her hands around the silver cup. And once she's done drinking it, it goes right back into her cellulose bag.
right.
And then all of the night passes uneventfully, and the morning, as the very first rays of the morning come, it's actually quite a beautiful sight you're met with. You're met with the beautiful, big gaze of the ocean out in front of you, from the sort of cliff that you camped on, and it's beautiful weather. Looks lovely. It's kind of romantic almost. And it is at this time. What? It is at this moment that Nanki sort of pulls at Giles's ear, to wake him up in the morning.
Oh, good morning, Nanki. Oh, did you sleep well? Oh, I forgot you don't sleep. I wonder why that
And
is.
she continues to grab your ear and starts to sort of like march off into a random direction.
All right. Yes.
And as you're following her, you notice her eyes have picked off a thin little lick of smoke, not very far from where you are, just a thin little curl, a ribbon, barely anything at all.
I hear Giles like going in, and I follow them.
Mm-hmm.
I presumably have a spyglass if I'm a cartographer. So
Yes,
I'll
you
pull
do.
it out and pull the spyglass out and start looking at the wisp of smoke.
You
Don't sound
see,
asleep.
you see a thin light gray ribbon of smoke, and from what you see in the distance, it almost looks like a fire that somebody was not very careful about and got smoky. You know how sometimes fires get a bit smoky if the wood is a little damp, and that they hastily then snuffed out. But unfortunately, that little
I slap the thing. It seems we've found the hut. The hunt continues, and I run back to the camp, and I take one of the words today. I take out one of the pots and a little bit of a utensil and just start banging it as loud as I can. All right, everybody, up. We have found chance. Onward. If we make good speed, we might be able to catch up to them today. And I start to pack everything in earnest and haste.
I do as well.
I forgot my flask was empty, but yes, please, breakfast, that can wait.
All right. And we essentially pack our gear as quick as we can and start making our way directly to the wisp of smoke.
Seeing you pull out your flask and put it upside down, Nanki opens her giant cellulose bag and dives into it head first. And all you see is like this little green butt kind of bobbing around while she's halfway into her bag. And she emerges out of it with this strange, almost like, well, let's just say it's a thick metal canteen with a hammer and a sickle on it. And she takes it and she just tosses it towards you.
Is it it's easy to open?
Yeah, it's pretty easy to open.
Does it smell alcoholic?
Oh, yes. Yeah, probably the most alcoholic thing you've smelt in quite a while. It smells like straight rubbing alcohol.
She is my new friend. I will protect her with my life, and probably yours as well. Thank you very much.
And she continues to put things back into her bag as she got them. And you see random woodland creatures and strange things you haven't seen before, glowing stones, orbs. You even see a bit of a publication, almost like a really glossy sort of newspaper that's the type of quality that you wouldn't have these days, and all kinds of things she's shoving in there. And you even see a gray cartridge with a random duck on it, and just all kinds of random things that she's collected.
I walk up behind her, trying to kind of sneak a peek behind into the bag.
She kicks you in the shin as hard as she can. Can you make a fortitude check? Or toughness, rather? Or what's your toughness value? Here, I'll roll for it.
All right, I'm a 13.
You're a 13?
Yeah.
I rolled a natural 20.
I guess I don't have a shin anymore.
Well, you only take 7 damage.
Oh, only 7 damage. Okay.
As she kicks him in the shin and he kind of kneels over, I bop him in the back of the head and I just look at Nanki and I'm like, he's rude, isn't he?
And she communicates with you in sort of your weird underwater ocean language, and she calls him a disgusting boar.
Yep. And I just look at her and say, yep.
Giles impatiently sitting with his backpack looking at everybody after Nanki dumped everything in place. Now that we're all done looking at Nanki's bag and we've been properly liquored up, can we please try to save our friend Nim and make sure that Chance doesn't get away with being such a blunderbuss?
Understanding what you're saying, Nanki, ties up the last bits of her gigantic cellulose bag, tosses it over her shoulder, and then just out of one of her little side pocket things in her leaf skirt, she pulls out a big, beautiful jasmine flower and places it in Nim's hair and strokes her little face. And then she continues towards the lick of smoke without a care in the world.
At what point did the Niminillion become the leader of the group? At what point did I become the leader of the group? God, the things you get into. Just keep walking.
So
I'm walking with a limp.
You march along, and you sort of reach this remains of a camp where somebody was the night before. But you notice that, sitting there on a rock, finishing packing up their camp, is a very, very disheveled looking woman. From behind, her hair is just kind of sticking out in all kinds of directions. There's abrasions and cuts, and she's covered in what looks to be dust and rock dust. And she's just sort of eagerly packing up her bag and kicking out the remains of the fire and starting to just get her things together.
So this is at the camp that we saw, and she's
yes,
still
the one
there.
the one that Nanki saw the fire from.
I'm gonna sneak up behind her and just tap her on the shoulder.
Okay. As you do that, she turns around and immediately you see what looks to be like General Lee, and she sees this blue creature up very close to her and immediately sort of responds in a very hostile fashion and grabs her knife from her waist and just quickly sort of puts it in front of her in a very defensive position and immediately backs away.
Oh,
I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna pull out my dagger and do the same thing back to her.
So you're now circling each other.
No, General Lee. Oh my, you're alive. Oh, good gracious golly me. I'm so happy to see that you've made it out of the rocks.
I'm just gonna turn around to Giles and motion as if I'm confused that he knows who this is.
It's all right.
As this is happening, she spins around. This General Lee character that I've heard about but don't know much about, it seems overly aggressive. I'm gonna go ahead and use from this distance instinctually the disarmed. Bane to just go ahead and try and throw the blade from her possession.
Okay.
So what do I roll for that?
For disarm, let's see. I have it here somewhere. I believe it's your
Oh, I see. Movement versus resolve. Perfect.
disarm. So it's gonna be
Okay.
It can be agility, alteration, energy, entropy, influence, might, and movement, depending on which of those stats is preferable to you. Perfect. A 21.
I see this happen. I kind of as the time slows in that moment and just instinctually trying to defend at least the allies I have in the moment, I kind of just nudge my finger slightly to the left and from a distance the blade.
So I will roll for the good general. Okay, so as soon as you sort of put out your arms and instinctually, cast this this energy comes out of your hands, and the blade goes flying out of her hand and immediately sort of sticks in a nearby coastal tree and just starts quivering inside the trunk of the tree, and she looks absolutely stunned at what has happened.
So I'm just gonna move forward and try to just apprehend her because I still don't know who she is, and she pulled a knife out on me. So I'm gonna try to like grab her just so I can hold her until someone else can ask her questions.
Let's see if you succeed.
Up.
Ooh, what is your evasion?
14.
14. She rolled a 24.
Oh,
So,
okay.
as you move forward, she does a quick like leg sweep and sort of knocks you down on the ground, and immediately like sort of pulls her revolver from the back of her pants. And just like at this point, she starts to look up and look around, and she starts to recognize all of you. But you see the look of a cornered wild animal in her eyes. And she doesn't have quite the same confident, reassuring, friendly gaze that she had before. And she looks about at all of you as though she vaguely remembers who you are, but not quite.
General Lee, we only saw you 24 hours ago. What happened to you? It's Giles and Jonathan.
Jonathan is approaching. That all happened within a few seconds, I'm sure. But I'm trying to close the gap, and now I imagine a few feet away from her, and I'm still attempting to get closer. General Lee, you remember us?
Yes, of course I do. Of course I remember you. And she kind of collects herself, and then she says, "In the land where the Dark Ones dwell and the Elder Gods sleep." Yes. No, I remember. You were there. Yes, of course. I looked for you. And now at this moment you notice most of the whites of her eyes have almost disappeared, and it's almost as though her pupil has expanded to almost the entirety of her eyes. So it's almost as though you're looking into these black voids.
I take a half step back upon seeing this.
What are you doing out here?
I was tracking the heretic.
Yes, the heretic Chance.
I'm sorry, what?
The heretic, the one who took the relic?
The relic. Ah, yes.
Oh my. Do you know where he is? Did you find him?
And she gazes at you and she says, "The crystal must sit inside the crucible."
Right. Okay. Makes sense.
Jonathan's just looking at Giles.
Do her eyes look like mine?
Yes, vaguely. Mm-hmm.
I'll walk over to. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, so I look at her and notice that he's taken aback by the way that she looks, and I look at Jonathan and point at her and then point at me, like to say, is that me? Is that what happened?
I'll walk over to Jonathan too and go, I think we may have an escalated issue with the good general on our hands in the same way that we have Nim.
If I may, let me try something. I have a knack for these sort of confusing conversations.
Jonathan's very skeptical of this, but is not going to stop him.
I kind of gently push your shoulders apart as you're talking to face the general. Arms open, welcoming. I go, "General, my name is Rynal Mandor. I have heard so much about you. It seems you are in a confused state, but I am also in a confused state myself, and I have but traveled from a far ways, and I think perhaps we should...
1,000 leagues under the sea, 1,000 years we've waited, yes."
So in trying to use my silver tongue perk to see if I can charm or glean through some brief conversation any sort of, if this source is within her or if her actual, is her mind fractured? Is her mind influenced? Is there...
It's more of an influence, but in between words, you almost catch, or in between sentences, you almost catch glimpses of her past self, and her eyes almost glint a certain way, and you can kind of tell that some of what she's saying has a hint of truth to it, and then quickly she is almost once again enveloped in the shadows. Do you want to attempt to glean something from the sort of
I'd like to.
Yes, of course.
Want me to roll for that?
That a 21?
That was a roll before. What do you want me to roll for this?
For this, what was the boon you had?
It was Silver Tongue.
So I would just go ahead and roll for that one. I'll allow that.
It's a perk.
Oh, it's a perk, and what does the perk do exactly?
It's just like my.
Oh, so you auto succeed.
observant.
Is it once per session when I converse with an intelligent creature for at least 5 minutes, you'll learn one useful secret of the GM's choice about the creature.
Okay, perfect. So you, from speaking with her and from putting her at ease with just your mannerisms and your words, you start to glean pieces of information from her, and she says to you, when I emerged from the darkness, from the depths, I saw him, I felt him in the aether, and I followed. And she kind of gazes off, and then she immediately almost becomes militaristic. And she says, I tracked him through the forest, and it's very easy to track large, tromping man. I know he made that way, and I'm sure I could pick up his trail again.
If you would be so kind as to lead us, I think this would be a great boon to both your friends and yourself. There may be some drink in it for you, and I kind of shake the cask that I got earlier from our friend Anaki.
She kind of chuckles, and she looks up at Jonathan, and she says Jonathan, I thought I'd lost you.
No, General, we thought we'd lost you too, but it seems we're both okay.
And then out of nowhere, her eyes sort of gaze off again, and she responds, yes, lost beneath 1,000 waves, lain in slumber. And she kind of sort of trails off again.
I go to grab her hand and, attempting to ground her a bit, say, why don't you lead the way and we'll try to find him.
Mm-hmm. Can you roll your influence?
Yeah. Oh! Oh my god, I have a 5 in influence.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I think you
You just have a way with women, Jonathan.
Yeah,
You just
solid 7.
roll the 1. So with the total of 7, as you hold her hand and attempt to ground her, the warmth of your hand does seem to bring her back just a little bit, and she kind of meets your gaze, and she says, "Yes, this way." But almost immediately you lose her again, and she starts muttering about the strangest things and the strangest voices, almost as though 2 voices are speaking at once from within her. It almost sounds like an echo every time she opens her mouth. And she guides you along the path while muttering in a deranged fashion. And you see, not very far from where she was camped, just a few small, almost hut-like buildings right up on the cliff, or against the cliff, looking out over the beach and the ocean below.
I'm gonna go and make sure to go to Nanki and verify that we're on the right way. Nanki, seems the general is having a bit of a hard time staying in this plane of existence with us. Can you confirm that this is indeed the correct trail, that chance that we were following from last night?
Nanki has grown sullen and silent upon sort of coming in direct contact with the general. She feels very disturbed and very upset by what she's experiencing, and she's almost taken to sulking behind Nivha because she doesn't feel safe.
I'm gonna turn around and I kind of grab her by her shoulders and just rubbing her arm and kind of motioning her forward as if we're going to slowly follow the trail that we were on, and just kind of ignoring the rest of them, just paying attention to her.
Yeah. And, she sort of leans on you a bit and takes to just kind of kicking the dirt around her feet and sullenly moving along instead of at her normal, very skippy, chirpy, humming phase. She's sort of withdrawn into a very quiet, uncomfortable state.
Well, I guess we can keep following the fair general then, since it's really the only path we have laid out in front of us.
The general...
Once again, I would appreciate all of you to stand between me and the general, though.
gonna turn around and
Jonathan
just,
makes a point of it to move Rynal between him and General Lee.
I will go up next to General Lee. I'm fascinated by what has happened to her in literally the span of 24 hours, and I will just continue to observe and watch for the moments and to see if there's any triggers that seem to bring her back into this fractured mind state.
Mm-hmm. And as you walk towards this almost like small village, what looks to be maybe the remains of a fishing village in the distance, Nima notices once again very clearly the boot prints she had seen before, but now they're a lot fresher and deeper, almost like the person who was walking wasn't even trying to conceal themselves at this point. And you come across 3 sort of disheveled bamboo huts right here on the cliff with their backs out against the ocean.
Before we go too much into the camp, I want to kind of take a second just to stop the group and look around and make sure that we're not like walking into a trap or walking into something that seems abandoned, but there's actually a lot of potential enemies around.
Okay.
Should you roll perception?
Yes.
15.
So from looking around observantly, you know that you haven't been followed and there's no one really around you. You do notice signs of sort of life within these like little huts and cottages that you see. But for the most part, from what you can see outside, you see like, a little bit of smoke coming out of the chimney. It's nothing out of the ordinary, nothing that you would assume to be militaristic.
Do they appear to be temporary cottages, like maybe ones that were just built recently, or do they seem more permanent?
They do seem more permanent, but definitely the abodes of people that are maybe poverty-stricken.
I'm gonna look at Nanki and ask her if she has been here before. Does she know? And ask her if she knows who lives here.
She shakes her head, but she does point at the boot prints and communicate with you that it is the person that you asked her to find for you.
So I'm gonna look. I turn around and look at the group, and I point at the boot print, and I'm talking, but all they can hear is the
Yeah.
So I'm doing that, and I'm excitedly pointing at the boot, and then pointing at the house, and getting them to realize that I think he's here. She says, "We're okay. Thumbs up. We're good. Go. We have to find him here."
Do we get that?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Especially between her just gesticulating and Nanki's broken English, you put it together.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, it would appear we found our mark then. Shall we, well, actually, if it is Chance and if it is Brom, we need to get the jump on them.
Oh, no. This is awful timing. So we just hit 5 subscribers.
Oh boy.
Woo! But
and for those of you who don't know, it is Free Key Friday. Every sub we give away a free Steam key. Every 5 subs, we roll a chaos die, and either something good, something bad, or something weird happens.
It's on you, Matt.
Yeah, it's Matt's turn.
Yeah, it's your turn.
Matt's
You gotta
turn.
roll a d20. Let's see what we got.
All right. 13.
That's a lucky number.
13. So great, something weird's gonna happen. All right,
Oh, boy.
I'll sit on that for just a moment, and then
See what
something weird will happen when you least expect it.
I think I will attempt to stealthily go and investigate one of the huts and see if our mark is indeed inside one of these temporary villages.
Well, since you've come upon this village, Nanki, feeling that she sort of fulfilled her duty to you all and being very off-put by the strange General Lee, who was formerly her friend, takes her cellulose bag and sort of turns around and quietly starts traipsing back off from whence she came.
I'm gonna run after her. I run after her really quick and just give her a really big hug.
She hugs you back and
pat her on the head, and then I let her go.
Because she likes you, let's see here. Oh, because she likes you, she reaches into her bag and she pulls out, a very special blade and hands it to you, hilt first, and kisses you on the cheek and sort of wishes you luck in your strange tongue. And feeling very sheepish about being so disturbed by General Lee, who, remember, was her very dear friend, decides that she needs to go home. She doesn't want to be here anymore.
No.
I just tell her, we'll save her too. And then I pat her on the head and let her go on her way.
And she goes off into the distance, and you notice your packs are generally lighter. And, you realize she's stolen a sock from Jonathan as well. And she's wearing a sock on one foot, as well as a scarf around her neck. And her new tea set is jingling very nicely in the back of her cellulose pack.
I'm not as outwardly affectionate as Nim is towards Nanki, but inside, the gentleman in me is very sad. The gentleman and the scientist in me is very sad to see Nanki go.
I wave cordially, but deep down, I still harbor resentment for my shin.
I would like to sneak into one of these. Take my pack off first.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus, we've learned this the hard way. Take my pack off and put it down and see if I can...
Generally grabs your wrist at this moment, right before you go in, and you see almost a glimpse of herself, and her warm, reassuring self is almost back for a moment, and she says, "Hey," and she grabs her sniper rifle, and she says, We're very, very quick to replace your strange bunderbull
Blunderbuss?
that with my superior weapon, were you not? And she kind of chuckles to herself and starts adjusting the sights. And
I was just holding it for you. There's no need to be grabby about it.
Next time, make sure I'm dead before you do that.
I was just holding it for you. I wasn't... It is very much yours, madame, and you may take it back, of course.
And when you say this, she says, "Oh yes, all will be his. All will be underneath the water." She kind of mutters that awkwardly as she continues to clean her gun and readjust the sights, almost as though she slipped away again.
One of the houses has smoke coming out of the chimney, right? That's what you said.
Mm-hmm.
So as he's having this conversation, I'm gonna kind of slump my bag off, but have the weapon that Nanki just gave me, and I'm just gonna storm into the house that has one of the chimney that's kind of bellowing smoke.
Okay. And when you come in, you see a round woman with her skirts gathered up about her, sort of sweeping in the living room, and she turns around and she goes, "Oh, who are you?"
I'll follow behind her especially after hearing, "Oh, who are you?" I'll come, "Oh, madame, I do apologize for our intrusiveness. We wanted to see if maybe a friend..."
Yes, where do you come from? Do they not knock?
No, we actually are walking from Woe's Herald. Did our friend happen to pass by your literal establishment?
Well, that depends. What's your friend's name?
Chance Bordeaux.
You're friends with Chance?
Well, depends. Are you friends with Chance?
I kind of scoff, and I'm obviously flipping my hair and stuff.
And she says, "Listen here. Chance doesn't have friends." And she kind of bustles up her skirts and she says, "If he did, then why would he..." No. As much as I would love for my dear sweet little boy to come home with some friends one day, we all know that child is not capable of having any friends.
I'm sorry. If I heard you correctly, are we right to assume that you're Chance's mother?
Well, of course. Who else would he live with?
I laugh.
John steps forward at this moment, and a beautiful mother he has.
She is very impressed by what you say, being a widow, and wisps her hair that is disheveled and kind of all over the place. She quickly starts to pull it up into a bun, and once again gathers up her skirt and her apron around her and kind of fixes up the girls, which, being a bigger woman, they are huge. They're out to here. And she kind of bustles them up, and she's like, "Oh, who are you?"
I approach very slowly. "Oh, you don't need to mind that, but my goodness. To compliment a lovely lady must be a lovely home, isn't that right?
And she is very impressed. She's like, why don't you sit down and let me fix you a cup of something special?
Absolutely. Well, would you mind if our friends joined us as well?
Oh, of course. Come in. Yeah. We can get rid of them later. And she like kind of elbows you in the ribs and, gathers up herself and goes into the kitchen and promptly returns with these small sort of like baked rolls that are stuffed with cheese and tomato on the inside and, a beverage for you all to drink.
No, just tea's fine, thank you.
I brought my own, but thank you.
As she's like turning around trying to serve everybody, I look at Jonathan and just like whap him really big in the back of the head.
And for you, Jonathan, she brings out an extra big plate of these like odd sort of rolls that are made out of dough, and they're filled with like cheese and molten hot cheese, like burns the top of your mouth, and tomatoes on the inside.
I'm sorry, I believe we don't have the advantage. My name is Giles Fultonswith, Viscount Fultonswith, and I believe you just met our friend Jonathan here. We didn't get your name.
Oh, I'm Rosalina Bordeaux.
Rosalina Bordeaux, it is a pleasure to meet you, madame.
Yes. So, friends of my son's, you say?
Well, as you said, as one friends that chance may have. When was the last time you saw your son?
This morning.
Oh, this morning. Oh.
This morning, yep.
Oh, did he say where he was going?
He didn't go anywhere. He'd just gotten home.
He had just gotten home, so he's still around.
Well, yes. Where else would he be?
I don't know. He seems to adventure out in a freely willy.
Oh, yeah. He's always up to no good. I wish he would just get a job or something.
As she like says that, I'm gonna take one of my daggers and just stab really viciously one in the middle of the rolls and flick it up and just like very barbarically just.
So you're saying that he's staying home for a bit. Could we expect him maybe later this afternoon or in the evening?
Well, he's here right now.
What?
He lives in the basement.
So he's downstairs?
Yes. There's no room up here.
I'm gonna like fling as the cheese roll is like on my thing. I'm just gonna fling it to the side and like start angrily looking around for a door to find out where the basement is. Very, very pissed.
She's I see that I immediately need to diffuse the tension between the two of them. Ma'am, it's very important that we speak with your son.
Oh, well. You're the first people who have ever come to Mama Bordeaux's house to speak with Chance. Of course I'll let you see him.
Oh, good. May we go and see him in his room, if you don't mind?
Yes, of course.
Maybe we can bring him down some breakfast.
It's in the back. Oh, why are you laughing? I get it. Oh, look, a grown man living in his mother's basement. Well, listen here, okay? I keep Chance very close to my heart. He's very much a mama's boy, and I'm very proud of him.
I grab her hand again, and I'm sure he has just had the best upbringing, but it is imperative that we speak with him now.
No, he hasn't. He is a shithead, but I love him. And with that,
I look at her when she says he's a shithead. I look at her, and I'm like,
yes, he's just the worst. And she gathers up her skirts, still looking at all of you, because you look like such a strange bunch to be visiting her at home. But she doesn't want to scare off the few and only friends her son has ever had. So she, picks up her skirts and leads you to the back of the house, where there is like a really edgy looking sign over a stairway leading down that says, "Keep out, Mom," and like written in paint, and there's like skulls drawn and all of this ridiculousness. And he's down there. Go on. He doesn't like when I go down there.
As we're walking forward, I lean over towards Jonathan and kind of whisper in his ear, "Your world, is a very strange one, but damn if it is not entertaining."
You learn to love it.
When she says that she won't go down, I just like turn around and look at her and just kick through the door. I'm not even I just kick through and just barge right down. I'm not afraid.
All right.
Okay.
I'll be right behind her.
Well, while this is happening, is there any possibility that I can just pay close attention to the mother just in case there's a slight chance that she's not setting us up for a bad circumstance here?
Yes, you can. For that, I will have you roll your, I'm gonna say perception.
Perception. Okay. See. No.
You just perceive her as a big happy mama who just wants to feed you.
That is nice. It's good to know the family unit's still so strong in this strange world.
So, with Nimha leading, you march down the stairs, past the door with the keep out and all the edgy signs on it, and you reach, at the bottom of the stairs. You notice that it's eerily dark in this strange sort of basement, darker than you would expect. And as you continue to walk through this darkness, you start to feel like it's a darkness that's almost so thick that you can almost push through it. And as you make your way through this almost thickening fog, barely able to see in front of you, suddenly the mist or the thickness starts to clear. And as you look out, you see something that you just can't imagine that this is happening. But it looks like the basement of this strange dwelling, this hut-like dwelling, has given way from dirt to almost a rock plateau. And as you look above you, you see the void of the stars. It was full of stars swirling above you, constellations and comets, and every type of beautiful astral projection that you can imagine. And looking out in front of you, you just see smooth, glossy rock. It's almost as though this basement, this odd basement, this mud hut has given away into something that you could not have possibly fathomed to exist here.
Livingston doesn't just get odder and odder and odder.
I look at Rynal behind us and motion as if, do you know what this is?
Those appear to be stars. Have you seen anything like this before, Rynal? You're into weird things. Is this weird for you?
Well, no. I mean, this appears to be at least some sort of a temporal crossover, or at least a 2 points in space being connected through a small transitional portal-like circumstance. I do not know what would be anchoring it here personally, and this goes beyond at least the as a Temporian.
Is that what you call yourself, Temporians? Oh.
Yes, it's a name for my people. But while our focus is in short distance travel, this is quite grandiose. This is, without the use of a vessel such as mine, a transference from plane to plane or place to place. There is air apparently good to breathe, so that means we're not in the middle of the void, which is good.
Oh. Do I recognize any of the stars as constellations of part of our world at all? Can I make a logic check? No?
And behind you, the one who's been silent this entire time, generally just kind of whispers out, beneath the waves, she whispers, she calls. And as she says this, you notice that the sort of rock, smooth, glossy rock surface you're on, underneath you do vaguely hear the crashing of waves, and you realize that this may be somehow suspended in between the sky and the ocean beneath you.
Oh.
This is beautiful.
Oh. I'm not so sure we should be going any more forward.
This is a very strange basement.
Chance? Chance, are you out there?
You
Chance!
hear in the
Can you hear
distance, upon calling his name, you hear a strange raspy voice, and it kind of calls out to you, but not in discernible words, but in more of a
Is it just omnipresent, or can we pinpoint the direction?
It's from one direction. It's from your right. So if you're like facing the sort of circular stone tablet that you are on the extreme sort of front of, and if it's reaching out this way, you hear it coming from the right. And out of nowhere, you sort of see a cloaked figure that previously looked like Chance kind of like come walking towards you, but you see in the dimness, because you can kind of see, it's almost like a moonlight with the stars, you see from the front of the cloak these like strange tentacular sort of projections reaching out, and it turns towards you. And as you look, as it pulls back its hood and as you look upon its visage, you realize that from the nose up, this creature at one point was your friend, Chance Bordeaux.
Oh, Chance, you've grown tentacles on your face.
I gotta say, that's a bad look for you, buddy.
Oh, Chance.
And upon hearing your words and being completely unfazed by them, he shouts out, "Teleki, Teleki!" And he raises his hands. And as he does this, you hear the water beneath you roiling and toiling as though a million creatures are moving in within it. You hear a weird ululating chant that is echoed by 1,000 voices as though it's all around you. And as this happens, roll for initiative.
Right.
Bear, your rolls are on fire today.
I know, right? I'm feeling it.
Utilizing my attribute substitution, so I can substitute my movement for my agility, as the sudden surge of aggressive voices in creature form. I tend to slow the time space around me so I can better react with an 8. Which ties into the fact that I'm now actually focusing instead on the label of the alcohol that I've been handling. Realize I should probably have a few more drinks before this is going to happen. You guys go without me.
Yep.
We've been on fire. We've just been killing it.
No, but I have a feeling that we're now going to be on fire, or at least
Maybe.
drowned in the 1,000 voices of an old one. 13?
Okay. So, now that I've got the initiative track on deck.
Yes, I have no pack. I have a blunderbuss, and I'm looking out in the midst of the stars. Chance, what have you done? What have you done?
And Chance merely reaches out to you with one single finger extended, almost like a hook. And he continues in an ululating voice to chant in a language you cannot understand. And behind you, you hear in a raspy, echoey voice, like Lee say, he calls out to Mother Hydra. And out of nowhere, underneath the rock, 2 of these giant purple, slimy tentacles just come bursting out from underneath you and start sort of writhing up and down. And yes, he's... So that is actually going to be his turn.
I've drawn my sword at this point.
I would hope so.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, it is Giles' turn.
Why do I get to go first? He's undulating with his finger pointing out, right? Just
Yes.
chanting to me. Can I look on his countenance at all and maybe see if there is a bulge or maybe a place where the relic could be on him?
You can
At this
attempt
stage.
to.
I would love that.
Do it.
Perception or logic or
I would say perception.
perception. Ugh.
Oh no.
Man.
So as you gaze upon him, you are distracted by the strange tentacles now sprouting from where his mouth once was, writhing towards you. And you can't seem to look away in terror and in awe of what has become with him, to him. This is something unlike you've ever seen before. And as this is happening, you know, there's already 2 large tentacles that have like sprung out of the ground on either side of him. And now another one pops up almost, to his right.
Oh no.
And the rock beneath you is still pretty stable, but you feel like maybe it can't take too much more of this. And all the while, Lee is standing behind you, chanting in a feverish sort of like, dream of how, almost as though she's worried and excited and terrified all at the same time about how he's calling out to Mother Hydra. And with that, it is Rynal's turn.
Okay. So we have, how far away is their friend Chance?
He is about 50 feet, sort of at an angle to you, 45-degree angle to your right.
Okay, good to know this. I'm going to, first off, I'm going to reach out and use my slow bane against him to try and have his arrival minimized, or at least give us a little bit of time to plot and plan here before he gets to us. So for that, this is my movement versus his toughness.
Yes.
Could have been much better.
Yeah, so he rolled a 9, so unfortunately he is not affected by your spell. He does sort of get distracted by it though. So although his movement speed and his casting speed is not reduced, he does sort of, you notice like he becomes distracted in his chanting. He's not chanting quite as feverishly or as quickly as before.
This is useful. I will step back a little bit as part of this, and I will then use a move action to teleport about 20 feet away from any of the immediate danger to try and keep as much of a distance as possible.
Okay, perfect. So
that'll be my turn. So you guys watch as I kind of feverishly look around and go, be right back. And then I just blink out of your visual range and then flash about 25 feet behind me.
And with that, it is Nima's turn.
So because I'm part fishy person and a plague, is he intimidate? Like, should I roll perception to see if he is he threatened by me, or am I one of his people where I could potentially like approach him?
You are definitely one of his people.
So I'm going to, on my turn, recite the same chant that we can hear from under the water and try to get close to him or get around him to see if I can see if the relic is anywhere near him.
Okay, yeah, definitely. You can try for that.
So roll perception?
Yes. So first, actually, okay, well,
I have an advantage.
We're not gonna have you roll sort of deception to get close to him, since I'm gonna say that you can get near him and it's not gonna be a problem considering your physiology is more like to what he's used to, his servants.
Okay.
Once you're there, definitely roll perception, but every turn after this, you'll have to roll deception to stay within his melee range or his immediate range.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Do I have an advantage because I blend in with him, or no?
Not on perception, no, but on your deception next turn you will.
Okay.
Yeah. 19. So you do sort of feel, as you're close to him, a feeling of dread, and you feel as you get closer and closer, almost like nails scratching on the inside of your skull. You feel something calling out to you, a feeling of darkness, of dread, of death. And with every step you take closer to him, you sense that something is indeed on his person. Maybe the item you're seeking.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Is that the only action you're going to take this turn?
Can I attempt to, before the nails inside my head gets too strong, just to rush him and see if I can try to shake loose or startle or whatever to get him to break whatever concentration spell that is happening?
So are you going to try to tackle him, or how do you want to do this?
I don't know that I can tackle in the current state and how big and crazy he is. I kind of just want to linebacker, full shoulder, just barrel into him.
Okay, yeah, definitely. You can do that. I would, in that case, if you're just going to do that, I would do a melee. Just do your normal melee roll.
Okay. Which one do I use for that one?
Let me look on your sheet. It should be one of your
Would it be
primary
toughness?
actions. No, it's not going to be toughness since you're attacking. It's going to be, let me look for it. It should be just be one of your primary actions.
Agility?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. I think actually you have an attack button. You can just hit that too.
Mm-hmm. That's also there.
Yeah.
But that may not include.
I'm
the
just
weapon.
gonna use agility.
Okay, that works. All right, 23. So you definitely connect with him, and as you sort of go barreling into him, you immediately hear like, "Oh!" and he goes flying, and your shoulder connects, and he goes flying backwards, and the tentacles around him, these large, like 15-foot tall tentacles, immediately start sort of like writhing towards, snap almost to attention. And instantly kind of pick on to the fact that maybe you're not completely one of them, or there's a usurper here. And as this happens, you do feel something kind of thud to the ground, like as he lands, but you don't exactly get it yet, if that makes sense. But you hear, as you tackle him and his back hits the ground, you do hear a loud, like almost like a sound of marble hitting rock. Something concealed within his robes. And he is now laying on the ground.
Do I still get another chance to move, or is that then my turn?
Those would be your 2 actions.
Okay.
So with that is Jonathan's turn.
Jonathan, get the relic. Jonathan, get the thing.
Does Ivan go before me?
No.
No, he went first.
So I'm wondering if I could go back to General Lee and try to snap her out of whatever.
You can attempt to, definitely. I was wondering if someone was going to try to.
Yeah, I'm a little worried about her, so I'm going to head back there and attempt influence, maybe.
Yes, influence would be it.
Okay, here we go. Are you kidding me?
So, unfortunately, as you reach out to her, how do you speak with her? How do you try to pull her back?
Well, officially, apparently, I go back and I run back to General Lee. I guess I'm panicked, and I'm like, General Lee, the tentacles, help!
And
smooth.
she just says almost in a daze, like, Mother Hydra calls. You do have
John,
one more
it's just-
action left for the turn.
Oh, I do. Okay. I don't know how to do it, so I give up on this notion and run back to get back to my compatriots here.
Okay.
And
So-
do I have anything left after that?
Well, you do have quite a bit of movement because you were
Okay.
actually pretty close to General Lee to begin with. So you could move into position to potentially attack next turn. It's up to you. It's completely what you want to do.
Let me. I want to get near Rynal again and just sort of stand at the ready in case these tentacles attempt to make a move.
Okay, definitely. Go for it.
Okay.
Done.
Done. It's done. It's in my head. It's done.
All right.
Appreciate
So
you.
at this moment, the remains of what was Chance, this creature that now is just an empty husk that speaks to the void, lets out almost like an eldritch blast to get this sort of person off of him. And let's see if he is successful. And what is your evasion? Nima?
14.
14. So he does connect, and you feel almost like a strange force that just like immediately knocks you back. He is still laying on the ground, but this is merely for him to get him off of you, and you feel like a push, like just slam you back and kind of like onto your back almost, and off of him. which is where you landed when you tackled him. And when this happens, you seem to be physically unscathed, but you hear like a prickling voice in the back of your mind, and it just says in a whisper like, "You'll die alone here." And can you make or what is your resolve?
13.
And your resolve is just slightly weakened, and you notice at this time that where actually everyone is going to be changed to sanity damage instead of physical damage.
Sanity.
Great.
Good old-fashioned sanity.
All right, and with that, it is now Giles' turn.
When Nim tackled Old Chance, we'll call him Eldritch Chance now.
Yes.
When he tackled Eldritch Chance, and we heard the marble clatter against rock. Was there a chance that the relic revealed itself by any chance?
It was hidden within his robes, but the thudding was definitely like unnatural, and you definitely heard it.
And Nim was blown off of him at the moment, right?
Yes, so almost like by a blast. She was blown backwards off of him.
So there's no... What I'm trying to ascertain here is that if I shoot Eldritch Chance, there's no chance that I'll accidentally hit Nim.
No, you won't. But he will be a little bit of a tough target to hit, because from where you're standing, there is a tentacle that's sort of moving in and out, and he is laying prone on the ground.
May I use my movement to gain a more favorable angle in order to...
Yes, because where you're standing at now, you would be at a -2 disadvantage. But if you move, you'd only be at a -1 because he is still laying prone, so he's a little bit harder to hit. Okay.
I would hope that it would be easier to hit since he's on the ground and has a hard time dodging. But
Depends
I'll take
on how close you get.
I'm willing to get pretty close.
Okay, are you willing to potentially brave being whopped by one of these tentacles?
I'm a coward.
And the blunderbuss isn't super accurate.
Let's do it. Let's get whomped.
Okay.
Let's do it. Let's get whomped.
So I'm gonna go ahead and move you up into. I'm gonna move you to.
I'm going to die so bad.
I'm gonna move you to Chance's left. So if let's say I am facing the circle and Chance is here, and there's a tentacle here, a tentacle here, and a tentacle here, I'm gonna move you here to where you're only in range of one of the tentacles. This is when you need
Giles,
miniatures.
in a moment of uncharacteristic bravery, knowing that the world is falling apart around him, and more excitedly, just incredibly upset on the ungentlemanly-like behavior of Chance Bordeaux, positions himself in a place where he can go and pop one right into his kisser.
Good. And right before you do that,
give him what's what.
Oh, you're probably gonna be fine. What's your evasion? I have a 14.
Evasion is what? Is 12.
I have a 14. So you do feel like the tentacle, it whooshes over your head, and it doesn't quite get you, but you do hear, a voice in your head as it calls out to you. And what is your resolve?
My resolve is 10.
I only rolled a 7, so you ignore the whisperings in your ear as vague, and you just channel it out. You shut out these other voices that you're hearing as this tentacle swooshes in over your head, and you go ahead and take your shot.
Tea and crumpets, tea and crumpets, tea and crumpets. Non-keys tea, non-keys tea. Okay, let's pop it. Let's shoot it. Let's see what happens. Da 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 da. Good. Am I taking one disadvantage dice, or am I zeroing out?
0, because you got close enough to where you should be fine.
A 9.
A 9. Okay.
No.
So you shoot, and you do hit it, and the buckshot hits this hits the sort of sprawled out figure of this creature that used to be Chance. And unfortunately, a lot of that spray doesn't hit his body itself, but rather just kind of like ricochets off the marble and then hits him. He does take some damage, but he is all right for the most part. And with that,
Sorry. No, I was just going to ask, is there a chance, because it's the blunderbuss has the bane of sustained damage, is that in place onto him, or is that something I have to have been a better chance to do it?
If you deal 10 damage, it gets inflicted. That's how I set up your weapon, at least.
That's totally fine.
And with that, it is Rynal's turn.
All right, so everyone seems to be clustering in on this guy who gave out this strange splash and knocked the blue lady off of his fallen tentacle-mauled corpse. Seeing this bit of chaos and things turning against us, this is the perfect moment to really stand up and show the heroics of men of my skill set, yes? Leaning into my bravado flaw. I look over towards Jonathan and be like, well, perhaps we face this void together, my friend.
Perhaps indeed.
All right, follow my lead. And I go rushing in towards him, and as I do, I'm going to go ahead and cast haste on Jonathan as my major action to go ahead at a power level 4, which gives him an additional 10 feet of speed and attacks against him. His evasion suffer 1 disadvantage.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
And just try and get as close as possible to where the fray is happening.
All right. So you're just gonna kind of charge towards, just straight through the tentacles towards the prone body of Chance.
Yes, I'm probably gonna be flanking around the opposite side. If
okay, so opposite from Giles.
Yeah, I'm circling around the other opposite side of where Giles is.
Okay. Perfect. And is that your turn?
That's my turn.
Sweet. And Nim, you're up. And then we'll deal with the haste being cast on you in just a moment there, Bear.
So since Chance has just been fired upon, and there's all this stuff, I take the opportunity to try to look around and see if I can find out where the relic went, knowing that it fell. Can I?
Well, it didn't fall. You just heard it sort of hit the stone when he hit the stone.
So he still
it's
has
somewhere
it.
On his, you know it's on his person
Okay.
for sure, because you heard it sort of clatter against the stones when he fell.
Okay, so I want to try to rush him again, with instead of the opportunity to hurt him, get close enough to try to, I guess, feel him up. Try to find that relic.
All right, go for it.
Do I roll attack or?
I would roll. Let's see. I would roll. Let's do attack. I'm going to consider almost like wrestling or grappling.
So that would be my agility, yeah?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
16.
16. So as you're tackling him and sort of trying to pin him down, he is sort of struggling against you, and you do feel like his tentacles just whop against your face, and he's sort of making all these strange ululating noises, and as you grope, you do feel this almost smooth stone object as your hand hits its robe, but as soon as you touch it, he immediately sort of starts to struggle more violently. And let's see. What is your resolve? I rolled a 20.
13.
Okay. And at this moment, although your hand is still firmly placed upon it, as soon as your hand touches it, you hear a voice in your head that just says to you, you'll always be alone. He never loved you. He left you at the altar. Pretend that you're bitter. You'll always be alone. Alone and hideous. And as that voice chimes out, you slowly feel your grip on reality just loosening up a little bit more as all of these painful memories come rushing to you, and you start to doubt whether you'll ever not be a fish again.
Am I close enough still to stab him while he's riling me up with all these awful memories that I have?
You'd have to do it next turn.
Okay.
Unless you have that reactionary perk.
I don't have that one.
Okay. So yeah, but your hand is firmly on the relic, and basically you're both just struggling against each other as you like have got a grip on this, but you see he's not playing fair, and you feel like almost like his tentacles aren't just like struggling against your face, but they're also like inside your mind. You feel like you're slowly just forgetting the things that are important to you and remembering things that you had long since forgotten.
He's hitting me in the fields, man. It's playing dirty.
And with that, it is Jonathan's turn.
All right. So I am hasted, correct?
You are hasty, and
All
you
right.
have attacks against you are made at a disadvantage.
Nice. So I see Rynal take the initiative, and I am filled with a newfound sense of vigor and strength. I rush in as well. I've got my sword out, and I'm ready to take the fight to Chance.
Okay.
So I'm
And-
gonna go ahead and just get right down on the ground next to where Niva is, and yeah, I'm gonna go for the throat, I think.
And just as you're about to take off, you feel like a hand just grab the back of your leathers, and you hear like General Lee's voice just whisper in your ear, like there is no hope. It is futile.
Jonathan is taken aback a bit by this. Am I still able to push on all the same?
Yes, you can push her away and continue
Okay.
on.
I'm gonna. I feel I attempted to recover her, and it may be a lost cause at this point, and I'm much better off assisting my friends. I push her to the side, and I just plunge headfirst into the fray.
Okay. And you could attack this turn as well if you wanted to.
I would like to, yes.
Okay.
Is that
So, depending on where you go, you may have to sort of pass an evasion check from these crazy whopping tentacles that are now like sort of these three that are around you.
Indiana Jones style. I'm barreling through there.
Oh, and you're gonna go straight for where Nima and Chance are? Okay.
Not cutting any corners here.
Give me just a moment.
John is
Jonathan is heroic and
Oh.
moving forward.
this is the moment, man. He feels
the moment.
Wait, no, I messed
imbued
that
with
up.
that
Because I'm at
fire.
disadvantage, right? I'm at disadvantage, right? Yeah. Because you have haste. I messed that up. Okay, so.
I want to watch Jonathan literally like zip tracer like through the different tentacles as he gets right on top of Chance and brutal.
So, I got a 15 and a 25.
Oh,
What is your evasion like?
it is a 12.
A 12. So, as you zip through these two tentacles, one sort of like grabs you by the ankle and like sweeps you from underneath, and you sort of feel yourself stumble and fall. And then the other one, let's see, whipping about your head. What is your resolve?
12.
12. So it whispers to you like, the son of a whore would be a whore. And sort of like, you know, you feel like these like claws like going through your head. And as you sort of like feel all these dark thoughts embrace in upon you. But you're only sort of stumbled up, so you can still make an attack this turn if you wish to.
Yes.
Okay, so go ahead and swing for that.
Might.
Which weapon are you using?
I'll use my short sword.
Okay, in that case, that would be agility.
Okay.
10.
Dead even.
So as you sort of swing, you have to be careful because Nima is still on top of him, and in your sort of carefulness, you only deal a glancing blow to sort of this creature's arm, and you do manage to deal some damage, and the creature shrieks out in pain, and it is sort of like its resolve is wearing thin, but it still has a little bit of fight left in it, and around you the waves are now like sort of crashing up and almost like lapping at the sides of the stone plinth that you're on, and you hear the chanting of 1,000 voices in the sea reach almost like a deafening sort of pitch as they grow louder and louder and louder. And with that, it is Chance's turn. He will strike out at Nimha with a 27. And what is your resolve?
13.
13. Oh no.
Am I dead?
No.
End my
Maybe
suffering.
driven temporarily insane. So he lashes out. Wait, where you were at 10. And what was your resolve?
13.
Okay, so you feel like a sort of a blast hit you again, and with this you sort of reel back and let go of your grip on the relic as you hear a voice in your head say, a useless girl, weak, pathetic, pretending to be brave, playing with men's toys, and it scratches at the inside of your head, and you sort of like clutch your head and sort of fall down to your knees, feeling like seeing all these strange visions of a dark, shadowy figure sleeping at the bottom of the ocean, of all these visions of deep ones sort of swimming in the sea, almost like like the way a school of fish would, and all of a sudden you see a single eye just sort of open underneath all of these waves deep in the murkiness, like one single yellow eye open, and with that you're sort of brought back to reality, but you don't know quite how to collect yourself. And with that, it is now Giles' turn.
Can I hold my action in order to give Nim an opportunity? Because she still has her hand on the relic, right?
No, she was knocked back by this Eldritch
She was
blast.
knocked back.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to walk in even closer to get Chance. And strong as I don't seem to be fully affected by this yet. I seem to still have a bit of my sanity about me, so I'm going to take another shot right at him.
Okay. And are you gonna potentially? You may want to move because you're still within range of that. First
Oh, absolutely.
tentacle.
When I say that I want to get on top of him, I mean I'd let to move.
Okay. Oh, you're gonna stand on top of him?
I'd literally, if I can put my foot on his chest,
Go for it.
I will do this.
Okay. Attempt to do so.
Okay. Agility again?
Yes. Yes, your gun uses agility, I believe.
Chance, I swear by everything. I don't. Oh, 21.
Oh. I gotta
Great.
do my one last thing.
By all means.
What is your resolve?
My resolve is 10.
So I roll a 7. So this is how it's gonna play out.
Okay.
Seeing you striding towards him bravely, Chance or Eldritch Chance reaches out into your mind and says you're no royalty, bastard born you are. And Giles is like, no, I'm not. Continue.
I'm not. What do you mean? I'm not a bastard. You're getting your facts incorrect, Chance.
The son of the illegitimate son of a butler. But
No,
not believing any of it, Giles strides forth and shoots his blunderbuss point blank range. You see fragments of tentacle and just this giant hole gets blown into its face, and immediately the writhing stops and the tentacles sort of start to fade a little bit. They become more sluggish, and almost all of a sudden they almost freeze midair and start to crumble and stiffen and kind of turn into dust almost. And with that, you realize that you have vanquished Chance, one and for all.
Awesome.
I look up to Giles and just say, well done.
I knew my father, and he was a butler. I always knew. In fact, I've been keeping up my countenance greatly. You think you've gotten to me, Chance, but I'll tell you, your eldritch woes mean nothing to me, and I will see your face turn to dust, just like your tentacles.
Jonathan reaches up and grabs his shoulder. Okay, buddy, you're good.
I immediately, while this is happening, I walk over to Nima, who's is she still currently being racked by whatever
Yes.
this is?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm still just sitting on the ground, kind of just clutching my knees and buried my head in. Because I'm still killing him didn't do anything to me, right? I'm still the same.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to, and I've acknowledged through the conversation that while we can't understand her, she can understand us, right?
Yes.
I'm going to kneel down next to her, even though it's distant we've been this whole time, and the best way I can kind of talk to her and persuade her, saying, What this is, whatever this strange power that is temporary. What you are is far beyond what this darkness and corruption is. Do not listen to these words, these whispers, they mean nothing. They are but ashes amongst the flames. You are stronger than this.
And upon hearing his encouraging words, I kind of dust myself off and try to stand up and kind of collect myself and become at least cognizant of what's going on around me instead of internalizing everything.
Rynal, do you mind rolling a d6?
For me?
Yes,
Just 1d6?
just 1d6. Because that was
3.
so well spoken. Okay, so Nimha heals. I was gonna times it by 2, 6 sanity damage, which honestly you really you're a negative one. And you're still shaky, still unsure of yourself, still not very confident, but you no longer want to throw yourself into the ocean. So it's an upgrade. And
now that there's a lifeless chance sitting in front of me, I'd like to reach into the robe and grab the relic that
Yes.
might still be around and pull it out.
As you pull it out, you see a sort of almost made out of onyx, a large, smooth stone that looks almost like a fertility statue. It has it's a sort of fat, tentacular female with large heaving breasts and a large rotund stomach. And it's made out of smooth onyx.
Roughly how big is it?
About this big.
Okay.
Do I recognize the fertility symbol in any of my learned
You can try to.
lore? Learning.
I'd like to reach out and grab it.
Go
I
for
could.
it.
24.
24. So you piece together, since you were actually, this works out perfectly, since you were the one who was traveling closely with General Lee, you pieced together from her mutterings and the weird, inane things she was babbling, and this statue, this is indeed a statue to Mother Hydra, this Mother Hydra she was speaking so much of.
I'm watching Jonathan very closely as he touches and examines this relic, just for any sort of changes in behavioral patterns.
Mm-hmm.
What do you
I
think
grab
of
it.
Giles?
Does it seem sturdy? It's onyx, you said, right? So
Yes, it's quite heavy.
it's quite heavy.
Mm-hmm.
I've handed it back to Giles now.
I want to take a bag. I presume I may have a bag, or at least a container of some sort, presumably. I want to put it in the bag, pull the drawstring, and sling it over and walk back to what was hopefully at one point Chance's bedroom.
Okay, yes, you can make it back your way back towards the sort of now thinning the gloom where the stairs go up. Yeah, you can do that.
Okay, so I'm going to get back into Chance's regular world.
Okay.
Back into the regular world, so to speak.
Uh-huh.
Unsling the bag, and then take it, and then whack it along the side of the wall as hard as I can, over and over and over, until it potentially shatters into dust.
I'm not even going to make you roll for it because you sold it so well.
It has to be very dignified, you
So-
understand. I have to walk with it and
so
then
you
unsling
see,
it.
when you come up the stairs, you see Rosalind, sort of clearing up the tea and the rolls, and she kind of watches you curiously with her head cocked to one side as you walk up the stairs, and in a very stately fashion with the bag just go whack against her walls repeatedly. And when you open this bag, there's chunks left of what the statue once was.
Do you have a trash, madame?
She looks at you very awkwardly and says, well, I mean, yeah,
A simple
Yes,
yes or no will suffice.
I suppose, yes, I suppose so, yeah, yes, I can take it for you.
Oh, no, if you don't mind, would you just point me to it?
Oh, of course. And she points you outside of the house right next to where the outhouse is, to sort of like a large, almost like compost type of bin that they have just outside the brown back of the house. They do live on a cliff too, by the way.
I don't know if that's a leading statement or not.
Might be safer that way.
I'm going to take it towards the outhouse. Actually, even better. Why not put it in the outhouse? I'm going to lift the outhouse toilet up, take the bag, and dump the remains into the outhouse.
Okay, perfect. And with that, and with the destruction,
I turned to Chance's mother, and as just persuasive as I can, be like, just so you know, Chance, he's been trying to work up his, ability to talk to women, and he's been talking with other ladies, and he's been sprucing up his space. He wants as much privacy as possible. So you thought he didn't want to see you beforehand? Really, just leave him alone for a while. Maybe then you'll find a nice woman for him in the future, but leave him alone.
She kind of nods and understands what you're saying. She says, maybe it's for the best. He can't live with his mother forever. And
I come up and I say, no, he certainly can't.
I really smack Jonathan in the back of the head again.
So you're a mother lover, apparently. All right.
Way to wrap up, right?
And with that, she kind of understands what it is you're saying and kind of winks at you. And with the destruction of the idol, you've noticed that Nima's slowly, as you come up the stairs, the scales and things have started to fall away. Chance's mother hardly recognizes you at all. Doesn't understand where you popped up from. Is quite excited that a pretty young girl just came out of her son's room, because the creature that went in was clearly nothing like that. And following up behind you is now a sort of dazed, but a lot more put together General Lee, who is fingering her rifle, unsure of what just happened, holding her head as though she's just come out of a crazy night terror.
Welcome back to the land of the living, Captain.
Oh, I feel like... Oh, I need a drink. That was... You wouldn't believe me if I told you.
I nudge Rynal when she mentions she needs a drink.
Oh, of course. Do not worry. Apparently, there's still a fourth left. There you go.
She takes a sip and gives it back to you and kind of looks around and, it's like, well, what now?
I have an idea. And call me crazy if this is possible. Do you know where we can find your friend Nanki? The girl with the bag?
Oh, yeah. I know her, all of her regular haunts.
I have a thought. If you could take us to her real fast, maybe we can solve a few problems here.
Oh, of course. She leads you through the forest. Everyone's spirits are now risen, being as far away from the dark presence as possible and no longer being, literal fish and stuff like that. And she leads you to one of Nanki's many favorite spots, which is a sort of grove that is a clearing, and then she's sitting on a rock and she's sort of making a necklace out of seashells that she's gathered.
Glancing about, can I keep an eye out for any the best looking seashells that are along the
Yeah,
path?
definitely. Yeah.
Do I make a perception check for that?
Yes.
Yeah, good roll.
Ooh, 19.
Nice.
Yeah, so you scour the most beautiful pieces of almost colored glass and the types of things that would just be right up Nanki's alley.
As I approach her, kind of a smile and a bit of a hand twirl, Nanki, was it, right? I want to ask for your help, and I want to give you this wonderful present I found. Here you go.
And she looks up at you, understanding and fathoming what you're trying to say, and she goes, oh, and she kind of nods in her sort of broken English.
Follow me to the beach. The rest of you might want to see this.
And so she decides, she picks up her pack and greedily grabs the seashells you gave her out of your hand, almost as though you'll take them back from her. and grabs them and like puts them in her little pouches in her pockets, and then, you know, grabs her sack and follows you eagerly.
As we try and guide her best we can, get back to the beach where my vessel had kind of crashed in and kind of blew a gasket, if you will.
Okay.
I lead them all back to where the door is kind of unhinged and there's still a little bit of smoke and steam rising out of it. I crawl in and ask Nanki to follow me if she can.
Okay.
And I push past where the refrigerator is, and I pull the refrigerator out of the way, and there's a small little slot in the wall where it looks to be like where a fuse box would be, and it's currently like burnt and smoked. And I kind of pry this small broken glass fuse-like device out and show it to her and be like, Nanki, in that big bag of yours, you wouldn't happen to have something that looks like this?
And basically, she opens up her bag and starts like ruffling through things, and she starts flinging out bits of random electronics that she's found out at you. So a radio, an easy bake oven,
My mother.
a hair straightener, a conventional toaster, and she just starts tossing all of these things out at you. And then from inside of her bag, she takes out a large, colorful cosplay mallet, this red and black, and it has diamonds all over it. And she just starts like smashing the electronics with a lot of force, and then piecing through the parts and looking to see what she can find for you. Oh, I rolled a 19. And she pulls out a small little like glass fuse and very bright-eyed and eagerly hands it over to you.
I take it and go, you may be my new patron saint. And I kind of grab top of her head and wrestle it and give her a little kiss on the forehead and plug it inside to the small fuse-like box to see if there's a reaction from the vessel.
Okay, let's see. A 20. I rolled a 19 and then a 20. I'm not joking. Holy crap.
I love dice help narrative work.
Yeah.
The vehicle sputters and sort of comes up to life, and it's just like everything starts whirring and turning on, and Nanki whirls around and sort of leaving all this trash on your ground, including the bits of Easy Bake Oven and Ninja Turtles and God knows what else she's thrown down there. She starts going around sort of your cockpit and grabbing things that aren't nailed down and starts like looking at them and sticking them into her bag. And
She let her take what she wants, really, at this point.
That's usually best.
And after getting, 5 or 10 items that to her are value, she kind of comes out of the, out of this weird vehicle vessel and very excitedly, like with her new spoils of war, stands outside.
Go ahead.
No, please. I'm assuming this thing's ready to go.
I was going to lead out the doorway and just kind of go, well, friends, I can't say it wasn't strange, but to be fair, I kind of borrowed this for a strange experience. So, well, Nima, it is a pleasure to finally talk to you, I guess, and it's glad to see you're looking well. Jonathan, you are brave, you are strong, and you probably learned to cook from your friend Giles, but I like the cut of your jib. Perhaps go back for some mama. I turn over to Giles and say, Giles, you're a snazzy dresser, but you are mean with a blunderbuss. Teach Jonathan how to cook.
Just give him a salute and watch him go.
All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and drop a marker here just in case I want to come back and visit, but I wish you all the best of luck, and stay weird. The door kind of closes.
I turn to Giles. As strangely as he came, he leaves.
As you do. I'm surprised that Nim didn't want to go in and maybe be a companion for him.
God damn it. And as the vessel hovers awkwardly into the air and starts making a strange whirring sound, and then with the flash disappears, you see Nanki still standing on the beach with one sock on her foot, one man's sock on one foot, and a scarf around her neck, and a giant sack over her shoulder. And she goes, whoa. And then she looks back at you guys and she goes, home now. And she starts to go ahead and tromp off back towards home like nothing at all ever happened, leaving our 3 adventurers standing on the beach, wondering just exactly what has what has passed over the past 4 to 5 days.
Well, as Nanki would say, home now.
Definitely home now.
And with that, our 3 adventurers move back towards Moondew Watch, where new and hopefully more exciting adventures await them. And
Yay!
that was the close of my Open Legend mini-series. Hopefully it
Yay!
wasn't
Mini-series.
terrible.
Hey,
Thank
well
you,
done,
guys.
Bronze Girl. That was
Yay, Bronze Girl.
What? Oh, you guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed playing as much as I enjoyed hanging out with you all. This was wonderful. Yeah, this is it. This is it. I think we do have a special announcement from Zach we're gonna cut to in just a moment here. We'll just go around and give everybody one last chance to introduce themselves and say goodbye. Ivan, go ahead, take it away, lead us off.
All right, I am Ivan Van Norman. You can find me on all the internets at Hydra_Lord. If you want to come to Geek and Sundry and watch me play board games and role-playing games, sometimes with Matt Mercer, sometimes with not. We're all hanging out here having a good time. Bronze Girl, you were great.
Thank you.
I had so much fun.
Aureylian?
I am Aureylian. Thank you everyone for watching and tuning in the past couple of weeks. Thank you, Bronze Girl, for being an amazing DM, and Matt and Bear and Ivan for all joining for the last couple of weeks. You can find me on Twitter, Twitch, everywhere at Aureylian, and I'll see you guys soon.
Bear?
Hello, I'm BaerTaffy, BaerTaffy on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube. I gotta say, this was only the second session I've ever had of D&D or the like, and it was, I mean, I really couldn't ask for a better ensemble to play with. So thank you guys for having me. It was a lot of fun, and I'll probably be doing more. I'm actually doing a campaign as well with some other buddies of mine, Lost Initiative, every Wednesday at 6 p.m. over on twitch.tv/Lost Initiative Show. If you want to go see more of my D&D stuff.
Super awesome. And Matthew Mercer?
Hi, yes, I'm Matthew Mercer. You can find me on Twitter at Matthew Mercer or Instagram at Matthew Mercer VO. I run Geek and Sundry's Critical Role every Thursday night on their Twitch at 7 p.m. Pacific. Bronze Girl, thank you so much for inviting me and running a great game. I had an amazing time.
Thanks.
And amongst all you great players, it was an absolute pleasure to play along with you today. Thanks for including me.
It was such an honor to have you. Thank you so much for coming through. And yeah, I'm that Bronze Girl. I was your DM for this mini-series. Open Legend will actually be continuing as an extension with the Vanquished cast on Mondays from 6 to 9 p.m. And with that, I think that's it. Thank you guys so much for having me. Thank you so much for hitting the Kickstarter goal to make this mini-series possible. All this is possible because of you, the fans. So thank you. Thank you for all of it. I had a great time GMing this, and hopefully you had a great time watching. And with that, I think everyone stay tuned. I think we have a very special sort of message from Zach. Are you ready for us, QQ? Perfect. All right. Bye.
Bye.